She'll be a president our children could look up to.
And then the vice president joined and hugged him on stage after saying this earlier.
Joe, thank you for your historic leadership.
Hillary Clinton also took the stage and took a swipe at her 2016 rival.
Kamala cares about kids and families, cares about America. Donald only cares about himself.
Well, former President Trump will go to Michigan today as he hits battleground states to counter the Democrats' message.
Former President Trump in Pennsylvania continued to paint his dire picture of a country led by Democrats.
We're going to bring back a thing called the American dream. The American dream is dead. Right now, the American dream is dead.
At a component plant in York, Pennsylvania, he blamed Democrats for high prices and low wages, among other things.
Fox's Gernal Scott. As Secretary of State Antony Blinken's in Egypt continuing to try to work out an elusive ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. 6 more hostages found dead.
The Israeli military retrieved the deceased hostages during an overnight operation in southern Gaza, a recovery effort praised by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. We haven't been told how or when they died, but all were taken during the massacre by Hamas on October 7th last year.
Fox's Jonathan Savage saying he let ambition cloud his judgment. Former Congressman George Santos pleaded guilty in federal court to wire fraud and identity theft more than 8 months after the House expelled the New York Republican.
It's an acknowledgement that I need to be held accountable like any other American that breaks the law.
Santos could spend several years in prison. Today, Democratic Senator Bob Menendez in New Jersey will resign weeks after being convicted of extortion and bribery. America's listening to Fox News.
Well, summer's here and the weather is beautiful. Everyone has a favorite outdoor activity: golf, bike riding, bird watching, long walks. Ask 100 people, you'll get 100 answers. But if everyday aches and pains are keeping you on the sidelines, I have one answer: Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. Wherever you're hurting, back, neck, joints, or muscles, in 3 weeks or less, you'll start to feel the difference all day, every day. So whatever you like to do, swimming, pickleball, hanging out in the garden, Relief Factor can help you feel good again and let you enjoy all your favorite outdoor activities all summer long. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor.
The Morning Extra, only on Extra 106.3.
Morning, y'all. Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra, the day after day one of the DNC. I just saw a video of Joe Biden getting off the plane in California, going on vacation.
Going on vacation?
Yeah.
I heard during his speech he's got 5 months left and work begins now, and we're going right at it.
You buy that?
I didn't buy a word of anything I heard last night. I've never heard so many lies thrown out there in one night like I did at the DNC.
Me either, dude.
I know there were some, look, they both do the same thing, and even in the RNC, there was some embellishment.
Oh, sure.
But these were flat-out lies.
Yeah, they're lies that have been debunked, lies that just the Democrats and the mainstream media just continue to push and push and push. Find people on both sides. That's the one that I think irritates me the most because it's been debunked so many times. Yeah. And then
fewer border crossings.
Yeah, right.
Fewer murder. They're all lies.
Bull crap. Complete bull crap. And then to see Nancy Pelosi in the crowd.
Ugh.
Chanting, "We love Joe."
Yeah, after we know what she did.
And said it on CNN. She physically said it. I did what I had to do.
Have you talked to him? Is my only
what I have to do.
Right.
He made the decision for the country. My concern was not about the president. It was about his campaign.
Yeah. Losing.
No. Yeah.
And so we pushed him aside. Joe wiping his tears up on stage. Yeah. I mean, good Lord, what a damn mess.
It was such a mess. Democracy is saved by me. So we installed someone who never got a vote. That's not democracy. And that's the whole joke of the entire DNC yesterday was there was no democracy. As Biden talked about saving the world from violent extremists, people were outside berating police, cursing at them.
You mean wild extremists?
Yeah.
The ones he's supposed to save America from.
Yeah.
Well,
They
buddy,
broke.
he should walk right out front and got it done.
Now, I know the media is not reporting it, but I followed a lot of streamers last night and continued to. And what I saw was one police officer get his nose broken. Maybe not broken, but it was definitely cut open by one of them. I saw another one screaming as they were standing there screaming, and it was a man dressed as a woman screaming at this officer to get a job. Mm-hmm. And all this officer was doing, I don't know what side politically he's on. All I know is he was there to protect all the businesses and all the other people who were there walking around the city. And these people broke down the fences first day. Now, luckily, the police, got to give them credit. They did a great job there in Chicago.
They held it together.
They held the line.
There was no beating up any of the people that probably deserved to be beat up. I mean, there was no incidents that I saw. I mean, and the crazy thing was, like it was a 9-to-5 job. Did y'all see them pack up at like 7 o'clock?
Yeah.
I mean, they're just like gone. It was just like, oh, we're clocking out. And probably being a paid agitator, you're like, I'm here till 7. I'm clocking out at 7.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. Like, hey, this is what I'm paid for. This is where I'll be. I was surprised. I figured they would try once again, especially with Joe. They call him Genocide Joe. They continue to call him Genocide Joe.
Killer Kamala and Genocide Joe.
Yeah, Comrade Kamala, too,
Yeah,
some
right.
of them.
For sure.
But the reality of it was they didn't get past the police officers. They were trying. They brought tools. They put them in their bags. They took down 3 parts of the fence that they thought is about 300 yards from the United Center where they thought they could get in. But police quickly put on their riot gear and ran and took control of the situation right away. They put up a block. They made sure that those people were funneled into the 3 areas that they took the fence down, and they had plenty of police there to make sure they couldn't get across. So good for them. Brandon Johnson said earlier that he wasn't going to allow police officers to use riot gear, but that changed real quick when they started ripping down fences and stuff.
Mr. Bold statements.
But overall, I thought the protesters kept to where they said they were going to keep, for the most part. Some of them did wander off, and I think it'll get worse. I don't think it's going to get any better.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. It'll be progressively worse going progressively worse going into definitely into Thursday night and each night going into that. Well, but did you see Joe Biden before he got on the plane after his speech, when he was asked by reporters about leaving the campaign, and he basically said, I would have won. He's still convinced that he would have won the election. I gotta tell you, I'm not convinced of it by any means. There's 0% of me that believes that he would have won, but it just goes to show you where his head's at. Even though that big farewell, even though everybody in that building knew that they kicked his ass to the curb and were just fine with it.
Oh, yeah, they were just fine with it because you know why? They could chant, "We love you, Joe," and put up signs, "We love you, Joe." You didn't love Joe.
But they don't.
You don't love Joe. You never loved Joe, and neither did most of the leaders that they elected. Yeah, it was a complete act. You know what? I felt like it was weird. Like, he kept talking about, the threat to democracy, and how all the things he did. I almost felt like he was kind of throwing out there like a sign. When you have sundowners or beginning the onset of Alzheimer's, there's still some clarity there. There's still a way to kind of like try to get out of that box that you're in with your head and say some of the truth. And I thought some of that kind of came out. I mean, he talked about being able to get the 14 million votes and that the people voted for him. And I just feel like he's really hurt by this and is playing the game. Look, he's playing the game perfectly. He's saying everything they want. He's okay with the lies that they put up on the teleprompter because let's be real, he didn't write that speech. We know that. He stumbled through a lot of parts of the speech. Messed up. I mean, women don't have electrical rights.
Hang on. You want to hear it? Let's just play it.
Yeah.
Do we have electrical? Do we have that one, Joey? We don't have that one. Okay. All right. Never mind. Anyway.
Oh, how do we not have that one?
We don't have the electrical rights.
Well, if you didn't watch,
he
had a hard
wasted
time
your time if you did. By the way, because we're all exhausted this morning. Dude went on at 11:45?
Yeah,
somewhere around in there.
I was so upset. I was like, "Come on, man! You can't keep this man up this late."
For sure, man. You
think he slept all day up until
he had to have. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't tell him to F off, man. He's like, your time is 11 o'clock. And he was like, I got to go to the beach, man. I've got a family vacation. I'm not sitting around here with you fools.
I think they did the flippy flop on him, and what they did was they told him it was 10 a.m.
Oh,
not 10 p.m. when they woke him up. And he just thought, oh, I'm inside. I can't tell if it's light out, dark out. It must be 10 a.m. It's 11 a.m. I feel sharp.
Yeah.
He did a relatively good job reading off the teleprompter.
Yeah.
For him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I love that he said I know more leaders in the world than anyone else. I know him by first name. No, you don't. You couldn't remember the fella down under's name.
Yeah, right. Hey, Joey worked hard and got this cut about women.
Nice work, Joey.
Having their electrical needs met.
Women are not without electoral.
Yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? That's not hyperbole.
No, it's definitely not. Definitely not hyperbole.
The whole thing was hyperbole.
Yeah.
You know, that was the other thing that I kind of picked up on last night when he was speaking. The fact that he had to throw out, that's not hyperbole about 4 times. That's not a joke 6 times. You know what that means?
It's all hyperbole and a joke?
Yeah. The fact that you have to say that, they know that. And it's not like he was talking about his accomplishments and the things he did. Oh, that's not hyperbole. But it is. It's not a joke, but it is. He didn't do any of that. Kamala Harris didn't pass any laws. Stop making it look like she passed any laws because she was a tie-breaking vote on something that nobody should be suffering with today in an Inflation Reduction Act that they don't call an Inflation Reduction Act.
Because they know it's not going to do anything to do with help inflation whatsoever. And it did nothing but engage America in this failing green energy nonsense. Green energy is it's a myth. It's a marketing campaign. It's not real. Mm-hmm. Is it an alternative energy? Yes, it is. Is it green? No, it's not whatsoever green. And anybody who believes it's green is a fool. You are a fool if you believe that green energy is an actual thing.
Yeah.
You're drilling or you're mining, you're strip mining, you're using slaves in countries to go down in the mines and use their bare hands, typically children, to bring these minerals out. These huge mines. Good Lord. Anybody who buys this is a fool. I can't stress that enough. Green energy. Anyway, but that's what the so-called Inflation Reduction Act did. You know, it threw us into this world of trying to shift the United States into this make-a-believe green energy New Deal, and it is failing every day. Look at it. It's failing. It was labeled the Inflation Reduction Act. Where is the reduction in inflation? I've not seen it. Have you?
No, not at all, because it's a climate change bill, and it's a ridiculous bill that they said they're going to build all these wonderful stations, and they're going to have 500,000 charging stations across the country, and they've built 7. What was the most outrageous, or what was like the cringiest moment for you last night between everybody? I mean, I'll tell you right now, mine is Michigan State Senator Mallory McMorrow. She brought out a printed book of Project 2025, which we know is not Trump's agenda or policy. And that's what they're going to do. They're going to continue to push that tonight more than ever, push this fake idea that Project 2025 is Trump's agenda. I thought that was so cringy and stupid. And then she went on to say, and if he wins, it says it right here in the book, he's going to weaponize the Department of Justice against his political opponents. He's going to have the FBI illegally search your home. Are you kidding me right now?
Sounds very familiar. I feel like we've lived through that before.
How do the communists tell you that?
Well, because people will listen to it. There's a building full of people that showed up and buy into that BS. It's unbelievable. The most cringy moment for me was the very, very cute, very, very attractive AOC.
I knew you were melting.
Well, I know.
I knew it, and then the text came up 5 minutes later. AOC, she's hot. That's it.
So hot. And then
you could have turned off just muted it if you were smart.
Listening to her is like nails on a chalkboard. I mean, and her eyes were bulging out like she was in a WWE match. I mean, like Hulk Hogan, when he gets hit and then he comes back to life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know when they do that?
Oh, yeah. He starts shaking.
That's what she looked like. Her eyes are bulging out of her head. I was like, oh my gosh, she's not nearly as attractive as I thought she was with her eyes bulging out. And then when she
still
said,
look good.
Yeah, she's cute. But you got to turn the volume off because she sounds like a complete idiot, a complete fool, just like anybody that buys into the Inflation Reduction Act or the marketing campaign known as green energy. No, when she said that Trump would sell out America for $1.
We have to help her win because we know that Donald Trump would sell this country for $1 if it meant lining his own pockets and greasing the palms of his Wall Street friend. And I, for one, am tired of hearing about how a two-bit union buster thinks of himself as more of a patriot than the woman who fights every single day.
Every single day?
Every single day.
What has she done in the fight? What has she done? What has she accomplished? She's talked about all these things she's going to accomplish, and it's not an original idea. Everybody said it. What is she waiting on? If she's going to accomplish all of these things, you are in office right now. What are you waiting on? What was AOC talking about? What has she got done? Nothing. I've not seen anything.
Oh, she got the border wide open.
Yeah.
And she did stand there one day and say, don't come. And then that's the same as a gun-free zone sign.
That's right.
Don't come. Oh, okay. The reality of it is this. AOC also said something that I thought was really funny, and I texted you about it last night when she sat there and said, people make fun of me being a bartender.
Oh, yeah.
But I'll tell you what, I'd go back and work a real job. And I was like, wait a minute. So what you're saying is
what you're doing
now, you didn't make money. You're making money by not doing a job?
Yeah.
By not really working?
Well, yes.
I'm sorry. She said she'd work for a living.
Right.
That's why it was more funny.
Yeah.
So now you don't work for a living. Now you just get paid.
You know that.
But that's the irony of that.
Point to somebody in D.C. that is working for a living. I don't believe any of them are.
How can
not
you
one? Even the ones I like.
There's zero.
Which is very few.
Exactly. Zero of them. But the reality of saying that he would sell the country out for $1 when he created more jobs in this country than any of them combined, and then she sits here and says, I would gladly go back and work for a living. What does that mean? That means that you're selling out for $1, you fool. And I can't believe that Democrats don't pick up on these lines and these lies and the continuing I mean, it was a communist manifesto last night.
It totally was, man. But one step further on the whole on the AOC thing, she said he would sell, talking about Trump, he would sell America out for $1. On the day
yes.
that we learned that Joe Biden actually did sell out the country for $27 million.
What's worse, $1 or $27 million?
You know what? I mean, if you're going to do it, at least make $27 million, I suppose. So maybe, he's
going to pay
Joe Biden got it. Joe Biden got it right. I just can't believe you would say that on the day that we learn that the man that you're promoting, the man that you say you love so much, actually did what you're saying that Donald Trump would do. Back to all the things that communists always. That one stood out to me more than anything else. I was like, wait a damn minute.
Yeah, wait 1 minute. Our friend Stephanie out on Twitter, she said, AOC is a great speaker, but she's cuckoo. None of what she said actually makes any sense. Trump's Wall Street friends, ? Working for a living, selling the country out. The whole thing was just goofy. I agree. I thought it was. But she is powerful, and they eat that up.
Yeah,
and that's exactly.
Love it.
I mean, you saw the way both sides call each other colts.
Yeah, right.
But boy, that was, there is no, there's no cringe. They just cheer anything like seals, like trained seals. They clap and scream for everything. And I don't think they even understand what they're clapping for when they talk about, building 3 million homes and taking $25,000 per home to make sure that, the taxpayers pay that. Saying that they're going to increase the corporate tax to 28%. You understand what that does when they did that earlier and they tried to? It creates job loss. I don't know why people are buying into this crap.
What a mess. What a mess. Can you imagine... in 77 short days, is it 77?
77 a day.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been counting down.
Yeah. Can you imagine if Kamala Harris is elected? Because she can be. She can absolutely
I'll tell you that the energy that the CNNs of the world and everybody are going to put out today after that day.
Oh, yeah. Well, but you expect that. They would do that every...
Well, of course. But we can't sit back. We have to realize we better get out and vote. You got to make sure people vote for the right thing. And that's saving this country right now from this communist idea.
The good Lord's in control of it all. That's the way I look at it. Because that's what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
everything will happen the way it's supposed to happen. And so I try not to worry, but I get frustrated when I see outright lies, outright just misleading nonsense on stage, and then celebrated lies. Fine people on both sides. Are you kidding me, dude? That's what you got? Kamala may not be a drunk. Who can say, really? But if you hear her, you might be convinced otherwise. I know we have been. We'll play some of that stuff for you next. We got headlines, too, next on Xtra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station.
During the craziest election season we've ever experienced, you need a voice you can trust. Not headlines, not former shock jocks, but veterans, conservative leaders, and Atlanta talk radio legends.
This is the ballgame. This is for all the marble. This is like,
this is for the country.
This is 8 years of turmoil.
Count on the conservative voice of Atlanta to bring you the biggest names in politics as this wild election season changes by the day. This is Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3 and the Xtra app.
You turn on the TV, you will be misled. You flip on the internet, you will be misled. People will mislead you. It just happens. It's the fault of man, I suppose. One thing I can tell you is that my experience with central heating and air conditioning has been very good. Anytime there's been an issue with our HVAC, they've taken care of it. They have fixed every problem that we've had. And even a couple months back, when our bottom floor HVAC system quit working, they came out, Central Heating and Air Conditioning came out, and they had that thing fixed within 15 minutes. I didn't even have time to go tell the tech bye because he had it done so quickly, and we're back up and running and have had no issue since. So if you want that, then reach out to Central Heating and Air Conditioning. Make sure that your HVAC systems are maintained well enough so they run when you need them to. They cool when you need them to. They warm, they heat when you need them to. And if you've gotten past the point where you can just get a repair done, or maybe it's just your system's old, it's just too old to keep up with the hot Georgia heat, then get a new carrier system from Atlanta's Carrier Experts, Central Heating and Air Conditioning. They'll give you a great deal on that. They've been doing it for over 77 years. Education and training is the cornerstone of the company. They're based here at Atlanta. No, really, they're actually based here at Atlanta, not like a bunch of the companies that have been bought out that say they're still based in Atlanta when they're not. Call them today. Use them just like I do. Great company, great folks. Chuck and his team are wonderful to work with. CentralHeat.com is their website. 770-GET-HEAT is their phone number.
Hey Atlanta, it's Mark from Atlanta Safe House. The Safe House crew hopes everyone is enjoying their vacation this summer. We know the criminals are watching and waiting for you to leave so they can bust in and steal your stuff. But hey, there is a solution. Come purchase a quality safe from Atlanta Safe House. And with summer rebates and specials, you can save hundreds and hundreds of dollars on a quality safe. And remember, don't let an illegal or crackhead deliver or move your safe. They could very well know your combination. So drop by the showroom or go to atlantasafehouse.com.
When you buy a Subaru from Subaru of Gwinnett, you're buying more than a vehicle. You're buying safety for your family and something that will last a long, long time. In other words, you're buying trust. For a limited time, you can celebrate amazing offers on the all-new Forester, Crosstrek, or Outback during the Subaru A Lot to Love event now through September 3rd. Plus, you can enjoy special financing on select new 2024 Outback models. And you'll love more than just your new Subaru. You'll love the dedicated staff at Subaru of Gwinnett with some of the best service specials in the area and a team you know you can trust. You'll ride with peace of mind knowing that Subaru of Gwinnett has your back. During the Subaru A Lot to Love event, you'll find that Subaru model you've always dreamed about at a price that makes that dream come true. But you'll need to get in by September 3rd to take advantage. We'll make it easy. Just start with a test drive. And before you know it, you'll be in the Subaru you love. Start your shopping online at SubaruofGwinnett.com. Then stop by on Satellite Boulevard in Duluth. SubaruofGwinnett.com.
Looking for bold discussions on vital issues? Tune in to The Janelle King Show every Saturday at 3 p.m. with an encore episode every Sunday at 9 a.m. right here on Extra 106.3, where we dive into kitchen table topics that are essential for a strong republic. Don't miss an episode, but if you do, it's all good because we have new podcasts that drop every Tuesday on the Podcast Park or wherever you get your podcasts. Don't miss out on these thought-provoking conversations.
Low on energy? Struggling with inflammation and poor digestion? Try Encapsulate 6 Mushroom Blend and get back in the game. Our blend is specially formulated to promote overall wellness and maximize health benefits using 6 powerful functional mushrooms. Our science-forward approach offers the most potent and bioavailable mushroom supplement on the market, backed by third-party testing to ensure safety and efficacy. Order online on Amazon or encapsulateusa.com today to start your journey to better living. Enter promo code 680 for $10 off.
Have you considered securing your family's future, protecting your hard-earned assets, navigating complex legal matters with ease? Nelson Elder Care Law is here to guide and empower you and your loved ones. As a family-owned and family-focused business, our mission is to exceed your expectations, offering absolute assurance and peace of mind. With our trademark Absolute Protection Trust and expertise in customized estate planning, Medicaid crisis solutions, probate administration, guardianship, and conservatorship, Nelson Elder Care Law protects what matters most to you. Imagine a team dedicated to safeguarding your legacy every step of the way. Our flat fees ensure transparency, and our customized plans prioritize your family's specific needs. Are you worried about protecting your family and your legacy after you're gone? Let us help you ensure you're absolutely protected from whatever curveballs life may throw your way. Schedule a complimentary legacy planning meeting with our legal team in Marietta or Woodstock today. Contact us at 678-250-9355 or visit NelsonElderCareLaw.com.
The Dean's List with Janice Dean.
A lost teddy bear finally found over 4,000 miles away makes today's Dean's List. 5-year-old Leilani Hatton of Darlington, England, was in Florida enjoying a trip to Disney World. The trip was perfect until she lost her precious stuffed animal. Grandmother Lynn Cullen says Leilani takes the bear everywhere, and they documented every trip the bear went on in a journal. Not only that, but there were pictures of the bear with many of the Disney princesses at Disney World. One day when they got back to their hotel, the bear was missing, and despite the search, the family had to leave Florida without their beloved Joffrey, knowing they would probably never see the toy again. But because Disney is a magical place, and this story deserves a wonderful ending, a few weeks later, a package arrived in England. Employees had found Joffrey and sent it across the pond to Leilani's home. Janice Dean, Fox News.
If the left made any sense, they would be right. Listen to Extra 106.3.
Doug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. Day 2 of the DNC tonight. Man, it'll be just a joy to watch, I know. But we'll watch it. We'll keep up. We'll keep you posted. That way you don't have to watch the nonsense and get angry. And it should make you angry, although it's finally here. The honeymoon seems to be coming to an end. I mean, we've been talking about the craziness and the policies that are just absolutely wacky and do not work in America, not in a capitalist society, not in a supply and demand, understanding the way the economy works. That's what Kamala is preaching and spouting. But even the leftist outlets, Los, are calling her on the carpet, and it's about time.
I love the fact that we are now playing chess with this. It's no longer checkers. This is a smarter game, and it started over the weekend when you had so much of the corporate media saying, hold on, Kamala Harris, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You're looking to create these price controls, and economically, this sounds a whole lot more like socialism and communism than anything else. And then we jumped on, and we piled on, and this is how we did it. We spent the better part of Saturday and Sunday telling you Kamala was a drunk. All right? Now, that was not the Trump J.D. Vance campaign. No. That was the rest of us going, all right, the good news is she's a drunk. The bad news is if she's not a drunk, this is what she sounds like regularly.
So and you decide which one you're hoping for.
So what it does now is it creates an environment where the media has called her out to say, you need to start making more sense. We piled on to say, use a drunk. So what does she have to do now? She has to talk more.
Right.
Just to get out there. Yep. And the more she talks, the worse it gets. And so this is a genius play. Because they all pay attention to this stuff. The left pays attention to social media more than anybody else out there. They're now sitting back saying, Ms. Harris, you're going to have to get out there and give some speeches and prove that you're not a drunk. And so if she is a drunk, well, it's just going to confirm it, and that's going to work out pretty well for us anyway. But if she's not a drunk, then she's going to be out there talking, and that helps us even more.
Yeah, I mean, let her. You said it earlier. Let her continue to talk. Let her get out there. They are going to do whatever they can to keep her. Everything is going to be a planned speech, something that they write for her, something that they want her to say, how she's going to be able to do it, and what she's going to be able to do. But if you get her off script, if you get her like CNN did yesterday, that's when we're going to get the word salads. That's when we're going to get her to continue to say, well, I don't really have an idea of how this is going to work. Because that's what I heard.
Cost. That's the other thing.
She has no idea. Because you know what? She's not in a college. She's never done this. She's never run a business. She's never run anything. She doesn't understand any of it. What she's told her, here are the talking points, go ahead and do it. They won't let her sit down for an interview for a reason. They don't want the people of America to get introduced to her. They just want their policies put out there. But I do love when she does speak in circles and has no idea what she's talking about. So hopefully some of the press now, because you see CNN getting out there going, we're getting called on the carpet because we interview J.D. Vance, we interview Donald Trump, we have him for town halls, but we can't get one of these two people to sit down with us.
Because they do, as Lowe's, and both of you said, they don't want her speaking because it is detrimental to her campaign if she speaks. The Biden basement Biden, however you want to put it, there was a reason they didn't want him out there. And they're using that same strategy with her. And we'll see how it works or if it doesn't.
Well, let's play the game out. We said that Joe Biden had dementia for the longest time. And no matter how much proof you got, it finally took until we had a debate where everyone went, oh my God, he really does have dementia. Like he really... The look on his face when he would stare off into space, okay, that's where it was. It's now on Kamala Harris. If you're not a drunk, why don't you show up and talk in public on a regular basis off a prompter? All right? Can you do it? Can you do it, Kamala? Why are we talking about boozing at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon? At least I have the good nature to wait till like 8:30, 9 o'clock for the most part, unless it's a Friday and I'm with Tug and Rhino. In that case, you might catch me at 1:30 in the afternoon, well after work. Kamala is on duty the whole time. You aren't allowed, as the vice president, as somebody who's trying to be the chief executive, to be drunk at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and speaking nonsense.
Well, this is what it sounds like.
It's a different standard.
Listen to this.
Confluence Brewery, thanks for taking us in.
Listen to the woo girl come out.
I'm Kamala Harris. I'm running for president of the United States.
It sounds like every Buckhead bar I used to go to in the 90s.
Or
when a girl got drunk.
Every girl that was in Truist Park last Saturday night at the Luke Bright.
Yeah. But here's the other end of it. And so if she's not drunk Kamala Harris, I want you to take a listen to this piece of audio. This is her in Pennsylvania. She's talking to a football team. She's off prompter, okay? Is she drunk? No, I don't believe so. Not yet. But when she is sober and off prompter, this is what she says.
And by doing that, and all that requires, which is the hard work, the practice, working as a team, knowing that you will be undefeated even if you don't win every game, but no circumstance or event or moment will defeat your spirit.
Huh? That's not motivating anybody. Those
You'll
kids
be
are going
undefeated even if you don't win every game. It won't defeat your spirit.
Do you expect that Kirby Smart over in Athens, when two-time, back-to-back national champions, do you think he motivates his players at Georgia that way?
No, he curses and he says, "I want you to eat."
That's right. Yeah. You better go kick somebody.
He's like, "I got one of these rings. I want you to have one. I want you to eat." And she's busy going, "If you're undefeated with your spirit, you will, even if you lose games."
What does that even mean? I mean, that's the thing. You can't even explain that. Nobody knows what that means.
It's just jibber jab.
She might be better drunk.
She might be.
That's right. Because then she would probably cuss a little bit. Y'all get out there and kick their ass.
At least she has energy and she laughs and does weird. She ain't as awkward when she's lit up a little bit. Yeah. This might be new grandma vodka.
That's what everybody does, though, right? Everybody becomes a little less apprehensive and becomes a little more social when they've had a little sip. And sometimes that's all you need is a little sip. Maybe she's taking the whole big sips.
But you would think like there would be a lot more, stumbling and, walking around like Joe, whatever.
That's why
but you never know. Look, it could be that. It could also be like whose cocaine was that in the White House in the entrance? I mean,
trying to say she was sharing it with Hunter.
Well, I'm just saying, a lot of people do cocaine
Rumor
because it helps with the drunkenness and the alcoholism. It keeps you going. Oh,
Is
absolutely.
that real? I've never heard that before.
Most
in my
people
life.
who do cocaine, it's to kind of bring back that drunkenness a little bit, so they don't seem as drunk and they can do more drinking.
Zaps you back to life.
So you never know.
Learn something
and now,
new today.
listen, I don't want people to think like I'm starting a rumor that she's doing cocaine. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if she was.
Yeah, I'm not starting a rumor. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But I would be incredibly nervous if you were to put me on stage or put me on a show and I'm drunk.
Oh, yeah. Could you imagine?
Like, I would be freaking, I would be going, everyone knows that I'm drunk. Everyone, I can't imagine how, if she's going out in public, one way or another, that would freak me out. Like, as much as you say, hey, you have a couple drinks and you go on because the inhibitions are less and you're not as nervous. Man, I would freak out.
A perfect example of that is Ingrid Andress singing the national anthem before the MLB All-Star game. I've been around her several times, and she's so even-keeled, so sweet, and never did I have any idea that there was any sort of issue.
Sure.
She walks out, and you could see the minute she got out there that when you go back and watch it, that she's trying to adjust to, oh, my God, what's about to happen? There's a lot of people here.
Yeah.
And then things just went south from there.
They're professional drunks. I mean, you do
She's
build
not
up a
one.
tolerance. And
She's
sometimes
not one.
She's not one, but she may have been for a long time. And you don't know, we don't know if there was anything else involved either that, kind of led to that point. But yeah, this is going to be a problem if this is a true rumor about her drinking and having a drinking problem. I wouldn't put it past her because she does come off that way. So we're going to ask those questions because if it was Donald Trump, they'd be asking that all the time.
Oh my gosh.
How many times do we hear Donald Trump's drunk and you're like, well, he doesn't drink, and they're like, well, you know what I mean.
Well, it was Donald Trump is slurring, and like, no, that's compression.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what did they do? They posted the audio of him talking to the phone and doing the interview that he did in Spaces when he was with Elon Musk. All right, ball's now in Kamala Harris's court. Show up in places, sound coherent, get off a prompter, don't sound drunk. Because I'll tell you this, and listen. I've been drunk a lot, okay? Like that, But I will tell you this:
experience.
If there is ever any point where I start doing some drinking, it's because I am not going anywhere near a microphone.
Exactly.
Like that is
I'm not talking.
Yeah, I am not getting anywhere near a microphone. If you catch me a little bit tipsy or drunk somewhere, know that I don't have a show to do.
Right.
And she, for some reason, keeps having these moments where you go, you're either nervous or you're a little bit out there or you're drunk.
It'd be great if Peter Doocy was put on this Kamala Harris campaign, and he brought a breathalyzer and was like, would you blow in this? Would you blow in this right now?
Yeah.
You think she'd fail?
Yeah, it's possible.
I don't know. It'd be like, I don't think it'd come up 0000.
Might not. Morning Xtra, Xtra 106.3. The DNC is expecting these huge anti-Israel and pro-Hamas protests. They're already having these real problems, and this is going to grow and grow. This is just the calm before the storm, Rhino.
It really is. And, the plans and what they do behind the scenes, that's the scariest part. The things that they're talking about behind the scenes, the way they're organizing. Don't think that these people aren't well organized. They are, obviously, getting 100,000, or what they say is 100,000. But still, even 30,000 to 60,000 people marching in the streets, and they're picking up more and more people as they go on. But they're already out there this morning. Cops are already lined up. They're already walking. They're already planning. They've sent out memos of what they want to do. Their main objective is to shut down the DNC. Their main objective is to garner as much attention for a cause that they don't even know what they're actually protesting for. Because if they knew who they were trying to protest for, they probably wouldn't protest the people that would love to pretty much kill all those same people. But the reality of this is, these are your fascists, your what they call anti-fascists. This is the same group, but they're there to cause trouble. And one of their signs says, let's shut this place down. And that should be scary for a lot of people.
Absolutely. And I wish none of that to happen, because it's going to cause incredible violence. It's going to cause incredible issue with probably people being injured and all the things that we want no part of. But look, the Democrats have invited this. This is their base. These are the people that they call supporters. I mean, you've already seen it there. This young woman, of course, in her commie mask, jumping up on stage while they're just prepping a facility for a rally and an event, and there's nobody in the building except reporters that I can tell. And she's got her mask on as if, and I mean like COVID style mask, and goes up there and she's just screaming about Palestinian death and all this.
It's hard
genocide.
to hear you with your N95.
But see, that's the thing. You can't really understand what she's saying.
Off.
But she's it sounds like this is all muffled. She's like, hey, you have to realize it. You know, and you can't understand it. The only thing I heard was Killer Kamala.
Yeah, Killer Kamala, blah, blah, blah. You know, the funny part about it was that you see the DNC staff like kind of freak out.
They're like, what do we do?
Like, oh my God. And they're trying to rip the microphone. Nobody thought, hey, you know what? Turn off the mic.
Back at the mixer.
They're doing a sound check and he's like, whatever.
Here was the moment where, in the moment of clarity when it comes to them. There was a moment where they were getting ready to rush her and they go, she's too black to tackle. Because if we do it, we're going to look awful.
Be the ones.
Meanwhile, I looked over at the Trump rally from Saturday, and somebody tried to hold up a Hitler sign, and
that was amazing.
Tore that dude apart.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, that's pretty good. You want to talk about the diversity of the crowd? It was the black dude who took the sign down and tore the dude up. I was like, okay. Meanwhile, over in Chicago, they're like, don't know if we want to do anything about this.
You know, it is kind of funny because if that was anybody else other than a black man who went and said, I'm offended by this Hitler sign.
How violent are they?
How violent are they?
Yep.
And now you don't hear anything about this because normally you'd hear about all the violence and they look for any breadcrumb of violence at any Trump rally. Unfortunately, they never find it unless it's a counter protester
because it would be reported everywhere. You wouldn't be able to miss it if there was.
Exactly. And they're not reporting this at all. Why? Because, you know what? He was offended by somebody who put up a sign, basically, again, anti-Semitic sign. But also, when you look at Hitler, you also think about he's anti-black, he's anti-everything, and because that's who he went after. He went after everybody unless they were pure blood Germans, in his opinion. So, yeah, it was good to see that somebody stood up. I never liked to see violence. I didn't want to see that man, even though he was black and very offended, I didn't want to see him beat that guy down. I was glad when they ripped up his sign and threw it, and I would like to see him because I don't like violence in general, but hey. So be it. At least it was him.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
All right, here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Tuesday, August 20th. The Georgia State Election Board voted 3-2 to require a rule that each county board would meet on the Friday after the election to compile vote totals by precinct and ballot type. The rule also allows election boards to examine all election-related documents for discrepancies and conduct investigations until issues are resolved before certifying the results. Board member Janice Johnson said the rule is needed to ensure accurate vote counts. No lawsuits have been filed to challenge any of the new rules. Atlanta police arrested 5 individuals after they sped off from a music video shoot where concerned citizens had called about young males brandishing weapons in the neighborhood. The 5 suspects who drove away were stopped by police, who found all 5 carrying illegal guns. The driver, 20-year-old Jaquarvis White, admitted he did not have a valid driver's license. All 5 individuals were arrested and charged with unlawful firearm possession. The officers also seized $10,000 in cash and several rounds of ammunition. The suspects were transported to the Fulton County Jail. And the Atlanta Braves look to gain some ground on the first-place Philadelphia Phillies. The two teams will open up a 3-game set at Truist Park beginning tonight. The Braves, who have 7 games left with the Phillies, are also 7 games back of first place in the NL East. Reynaldo Lopez will make his return to the mound tonight in a 7:20 start. You can catch all the action on our sister station, 680 The Fan.
When we continue on the Morning Extra until 10, that's how long we're on the air. Then Beck, then Clay and Buck in the local afternoon show with Kimber, Pete, and Flounder. The one question that drives leftists crazy because, oddly enough, they can't answer it. Next on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3.
Stream Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, Glenn Beck, Fox News, and even NASCAR on Sundays. Anywhere on the Extra 106.3 app. Download the app now and get 24/7 access to the live stream, the latest news, and everything you need to know about Atlanta's only conservative talk station. Download the Extra 106.3 app for Apple or Android and check out even more great original content at thepodcastpark.com.
Electrify your senses with user-friendly technology and earth-friendlier power. Meet the all-electric 2024 Mercedes-Benz EQE 350 sedan. Satisfying for both drivers and passengers with innovations that only Mercedes-Benz can deliver. Experience the all-electric 2024 Mercedes-Benz EQE 350 sedan today. Lease one for just $649 per month for 36 months with $67.93 due at signing. Exclusively from RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this vehicle and many other models. And visit today to see how to qualify. Special lease rate available only to qualified customers exclusively from Mercedes-Benz Financial Service through RBM of Atlanta, Sandy Springs through September 3rd, 2024. Excludes tax, tag, title, and Georgia Lemon Law fees. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this and other exciting offers. Visit rbmofatlanta.com or call us at 770-390-0700 for details.
No one plans on going to jail, but when it happens, it's important that you know who to call. At A Second Chance Bail Bonds, we believe everyone deserves a second chance. We handle bonds from local to federal for any jail in any city. And in most cases, we can have you and your loved one out of jail in a matter of hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL-OUT. That's 404-BAIL-OUT. Or online at atlbail.com.
It's the unsung hero of your home, your garage door. You never think about it. You just hit the button and it opens until it doesn't. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage and Entry Doors. So you're ready for a new garage door. At All Four Seasons, we offer fast service, affordable prices, and a huge selection of styles, colors, and custom features. Improve your curb appeal, lower your energy bill, secure your home, and increase your property value. When trust matters, trust us. All the number 4 Seasons Garages.com.
Hey everybody, it's Neil Bortz, an actual attorney spokesperson for Van Sant Law. Notice the heavy traffic out there? Yep, school's back in session. Things can happen. Sometimes people aren't that careful. Maybe an accident. But David Van Sant, he's there to help smooth the way for you if somebody you love gets hurt. Call Van Sant Law at 855-GA-INJURY. 855-GA-INJURY. First call after 9/11, Van Sant Law. 855-GA-INJURY.
Millions of guys suffer from erectile dysfunction. That's 1 in 4 men. And I can tell you, I'm one of them.
If you or someone you know suffer from ED, Peyronie's disease, or PE, here's 38-year emergency room doctor and founder of Total Body Therapy of Georgia, Dr. Eric Deal.
Patients who enter my office are often frustrated, hopeless, depressed, and embarrassed. I understand the problem, and I'm going to help you fix it. There are lots of competitors that don't have the credentials that I have. When you go to other clinics, you're not going to see a board-certified physician with the experience that I have. When you come to our clinic, you're going to see me. There's just not one therapy that can solve these complex issues. I'll do a complete history and physical prior to any treatment that we use. Take it from me, Dr. Deal. When it's not hard, it's really hard.
Call Dr. Deal for your free one-on-one evaluation and resolve your ED, Peyronie's, or PE issues. Total Body Therapy of Georgia, 404-777-1911, 404-777-1911, online at stopmyed.com.
Diamonds Direct Atlanta is now open. The nation's fastest growing jewelry store now is a location right here in Buckhead. Shopping for the perfect ring to pop the question? Or maybe an everyday diamond tennis bracelet? The experts at Diamonds Direct are sure to have exactly what you're looking for, no matter the occasion. With the lowest direct importer pricing, you can expect the best selection of certified diamonds at unmatched prices, all within a luxury showroom atmosphere that makes you feel right at home. Come see what other jewelers are trying to replicate. Diamonds Direct's unbeatable after-the-sale guarantees and warranties are the best you can find. Free cleanings, sizing, polishing, accent diamond replacement for the lifetime of your purchase. If that's not enough, they also offer a 110% upgrade policy for you to use as often as you'd like on your diamond engagement ring, pendant, or studs. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, come see how Diamonds Direct is reinvigorating the jewelry industry at their brand new Buckhead showroom. When you want to have complete confidence in your jewelry buying experience, shop with the experts at Diamonds Direct. Now open on the corner of Maple Drive Northeast and Peachtree.
Miss any of the show? No sweat. Grab your Extra 106.3 app and listen to show replays whenever you want. Download the Extra app now for Apple and Android by searching for XTRA 106.3.
In today's edition of A Broken Clock is Right Twice a Day, Chris Wallace over on CNN was super funny. He was not having the whole Joe Biden is selfless thing. Goodness gracious, so funny to see this. And he basically says, you guys realize that he got pushed out of this thing, right? Do you realize that that's what's happening? This whole building is acting like this man has done something so noble with his arms to his side like a superhero.
He's a coward.
And Chris Wallace was like, hey, I know this is CNN. I know it's the Communist News Network. I get it. Y'all can't lie like that, can you? And yes, they can.
I think he was the only person on CNN who actually pointed out, y'all know that the party took this guy out after 14 million votes, right?
Right.
Like, he's up here and he's screaming at all of us.
Yeah.
And it's oddly sad in a way.
Yeah.
rather than here's the bouquet.
Are you guys a news organization? What am I sitting around here? You do understand how I mean, it is. It's 14 million votes. It's a threat to democracy. What are you guys watching? Yeah, Joe Biden was a coward. That's what happened. He wasn't selfless. He didn't want to step down. He would have kept going and going and going, and he would have lost this race. They realized, the biggest threat to our power, which they call democracy, is that if we continue to keep him in the race and we actually use the votes of the American people and the constituents instead of the paid delegates that we have voting for this woman.
He got thrown out of a window. And Nancy Pelosi, we played the clip earlier.
After winning all the primaries.
Yes, right. When doing the necessary things to be there was actually thrown out the window. Since we're talking about the Communist News Network, how do you make a communist really, really upset? All you have to do is ask them a basic question, Lowe's.
Let me be honest about this. If we had, and I don't care if it's Joy Reid, I don't care if it's Nancy Pelosi, I don't care if it's Jeff Duncan. If they were, walking through these hallways, we would be cordial. All right? Like, it's still a matter of you scale everything back because, I don't know, you're not a crazy person. So I want you to take a listen to this piece of audio. This is Charlie Kirk. And he is there over at the DNC. And what is it, like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the afternoon? There's no one in the building, all right? There's nobody in there. There's probably, I would guess, maybe like 400 or 500 people that are in the United Center at the time. And he gets approached by Crazy Parker. Now, Crazy Parker is the Democrat from Georgia.
From Georgia.
Who...
Young Democrats.
I'll just say this. He ain't ever gotten in leg day or arm day.
That's right.
Okay? Like, that's the most apt description I can give you.
Yeah.
Parker has never known the touch of a woman, but he has decided that he's going to go up to Charlie Kirk, and you want to talk about just being surprised by this, because Charlie Kirk looks at him like, dude, you know that what I do is what I do. I'm standing here, there's nobody around, and you're over here just yelling for no reason.
Right.
I want you to take a listen to Parker, because Charlie Kirk basically decides, I'm going to end the discussion by asking Parker the one question that he can never handle.
Because we have a Republican governor and a Republican Secretary of State in the state of Georgia.
What's your name? You said Parker?
My name's Parker. We have a Republican governor and a Republican Secretary of State in Georgia that approved our elections, and Donald Trump said that wasn't constitutional.
All right,
Donald Trump tried to undermine our Constitution.
You're at 10. I just walked in. I'm here to just
You're at
learn.
10.
Hey, you're an anti-patriotic, anti-constitutional person crashing our party
So let me
because
ask you
you
one
tried
question.
to stop our democracy.
I got one question.
Donald Trump called the
Can I ask you
Secretary
one
of State of
question?
Georgia and told him to find him some votes.
What is a woman?
Oh my God. That is so weird, y'all. Maybe you should meet
Is
me.
it?
I'm married to one.
Same.
I married
Same.
him.
And he runs off because
away.
he asks him the one question that sets him off. Hey, could you imagine somebody comes up to you and all you're doing is just mind? Let's say you're at a Braves game and they come up to Rhino and just can't wait to argue about Donald Trump and votes in Georgia. Like, there's a part of me that would just go, like Neil Bortz has said in the time, I'd hand you a napkin with, here's my cost per hour. And if you want me to talk about this, write me a check right now.
And I talk about it all day, man. I don't want to talk about it right now.
I don't want to talk about it.
But now I get a good response.
Yeah.
What's a woman?
Yeah, because they can't answer the question. Biology.
What's a fair share?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, that's another mythical one.
I got a few
At
questions
least-
I can ask him that'll just pretzel them into a whole complaint. But
He run off. He was so mad he ran off from Charlie Kirk.
Oh my God!
They are emotionally unstable to a point where, and I haven't seen any evidence that they're not. And there are some. I mean, look, John Fetterman to me, that made sense. He didn't show up. You know why?
He's the
He
only one
wanted
who's
to
got any
spend time
balls.
with his family.
He's the only one who's got any balls. He was like, I am not going to this place where they're being completely anti-Semitic. You heard Joe Biden last night. Those protesters out front, those pro-Hamas protesters, they have a point.
They have a point.
Do they? Because I've yet to see it.
Well, their point is to march every Jew into the sea.
So now
as
a
a
good
Jew,
point. How about that?
Okay, right, exactly. But that's not what he's talking about.
No, of course.
Boy, Parker got so upset.
Boy,
Again,
did he.
Charlie Kirk is just standing there, just trying to be like, hey, there's nobody here. I'm just walking
empty
through.
building.
And suddenly you have pipe cleaner Parker, those are his arms, who just starts yelling at him out of nowhere to the point where he's just kind of like, and as you hear him, he's like, dude, like, you're way up there.
How does Parker know he's married to a woman? He responded, same. How does he know? He doesn't know what a woman is. He can't answer the question.
I highly question that dude's married to a woman. All right, I've been married to one for 18 years. I'll just tell you this. Parker ain't really marriage material.
That's right. Holy cow. They pushed him way past his bedtime, and it showed. Biden last night, his speech before the DNC, his farewell speech, his last hurrah, I guess it would be called, next on Xtra 106.3 after a Fox News update.
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's the camera. How's it going? Here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
Simone Biles had to point out that having, quote, an all-black podium, unquote. What if some white athlete with a white bronze medal winner and a white silver medal winner said, wow, we have an all-white podium? Well, you know what would happen.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
Hey, it's Tug from my friends, the Frost family of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about their family's company all the time here on Extra 106.3. First Liberty has helped hundreds of small businesses grow by saying yes when the big banks say no. On Wall Street, opportunities to earn big returns are everywhere. But for Main Street investors, those opportunities are hard to find. Until now. Our First Liberty notes are now open to qualified Main Street investors, paying interest rates of 8 to 13% while helping fuel the growth of small businesses right here in Georgia. With a few basic qualifications and with as little as $25,000, qualified Main Street investors just like you can earn an 8 to 13% interest rate. If this is you, they'd love to hear from you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and consider joining the First Liberty family today. That's FirstLibertyGA.com. FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-345-2789. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-345-2789. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-345-2789. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-345-2789. 800-345-2789 or biglou.com.
One of the hardest things to do is to walk away from a paycheck. As retirement planners, Masterplan knows how hard it can be to pull the trigger on your own retirement. Don't go it alone. Masterplan is a holistic retirement planning firm that works with you to create a retirement plan to help maximize your golden years. Through income planning and money management, legacy planning, and tax planning, we create a plan specifically designed for your life. Enter retirement with confidence. Contact Masterplan to analyze your retirement outlook and create a plan that's right for you. All initial consultations are complimentary, so contact us today and begin your pursuit towards peace of mind. Visit masterplanretire.com. Masterplan Retirement Consultants. Plan well and prosper.
Advisory services offered through Masterplan Retirement Consultants Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates Inc., DBA Masterplan Retirement Consulting. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
Tune into your new favorite show that's redefining the A to Z's of marketing, The Marketing Madmen. We'll take you behind the scenes of successful campaigns and reveal the strategies that win. We're not just talking about marketing, we're making it happen. From viral content creation to leveraging AI for customer engagement, our experts bring you to the cutting edge of industry. This is your playbook for market dominance. Tune in and transform your approach with actionable tips that could skyrocket your ROI. The Marketing Madmen every Saturday at 4 p.m. right here on Xtra 106.3.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. This hour is presented by Van Sant Law, vansantlaw.com.
He's on vacation. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Biden's in California after a late-night send-off in Chicago.
We are forever grateful to you.
Vice President Harris at the Democratic Convention where the president passed the torch.
I love the job, but I love my country more.
Weeks after he stopped running for re-election, endorsing his vice president.
She's tough. She's experienced. And she has enormous integrity.
And the president touted a more secure border while taking a swipe at their Republican rival.
There are fewer border crossings today than when Donald Trump left office. And unlike Trump, we will not demonize immigrants, saying they're the poison of blood of America.
Now, the former president has blamed both the president and vice president for record illegal immigration.
Kamala puts America last. I put America first.
Countering the Democrats this week, visiting battleground states.
When I'm back in the White House, America's future will be built right here in Pennsylvania.
Today, the former president will campaign in Michigan. Back to Chicago.
Make a deal now.
Pro-Palestinian protesters near the Democratic Convention site angry about the U.S. support of Israel in Gaza. Some broke through a barricade and were arrested. This as Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Egypt today, continuing to push for a ceasefire. Fox's Trey Yingst reports from Tel Aviv, Israel.
Negotiators are about 50% of the way there for a ceasefire deal. Yesterday, following meetings in Jerusalem, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he was on board and he was willing to move forward. He had talks with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, and the pair agreed on a path to reach a ceasefire. In a meeting with Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, we know the minister thanked Blinken for his 9th visit to Israel since October 7th.
That's when Hamas staged the terror attack that triggered the war, and Israel's military has found 6 more hostages taken that day dead. America's listening to Fox News.
Well, summer's here and the weather is beautiful. Everyone has a favorite outdoor activity: golf, bike riding, bird watching, long walks. Ask 100 people, you'll get 100 answers. But if everyday aches and pains are keeping you on the sidelines, I have one answer: Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. Wherever you're hurting, back, neck, joints, or muscles, in 3 weeks or less, you'll start to feel the difference all day, every day. So whatever you like to do, swimming, pickleball, hanging out in the garden, Relief Factor can help you feel good again and let you enjoy all your favorite outdoor activities all summer long. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor.
You may have seen the Bortz billboard all across town. Let everyone know Bortz is back and his new home is Extra 106.3.
What were the takeaways from last night's opening night of the DNC? I made myself a few notes. All of a sudden, I started seeing USA posters and people chanting USA as if these people like the United States of America. This is a new, I swear it's like some consultant said, hey, most of the country thinks y'all hate America and hate the country, so let's do something here. Let's take in these posters that say USA on one side and Kamala on the other and shout USA occasionally. Let's have somebody, sit in the crowd and maybe start the chant, and maybe it'll build, and it didn't really much, but at least it's there.
Did you guys feel as weird as I did when I started seeing the "We Love Joe" signs?
Oh, God.
And all I thought to myself is, I'm watching these delegates put up the "We Love Joe" signs. I'm like, well, apparently not enough.
Not one of you said, hey, you know what, I'm going to go against this because I voted and so did my constituents vote for Joe. You don't love Joe. You then changed your vote to somebody else.
And then they started chanting,
Right.
"We love Joe." And in my mind, I'm thinking, yes, you love Joe so much that y'all were running 45 minutes late. So the plan was, what, 11 o'clock?
11 o'clock.
So you buried him basically on Monday of a 4-day convention. The sitting president, by the way.
Yes.
Right. So you buried him there, and then you had to end up saying, well, the musical act will switch places so that Joe can get on a little bit earlier. So what, he hit the stage like 11:20?
Yeah, I think it was a little later than that.
It was late.
It was like more like 11:40.
Yeah, I mean, I know they had to make a lot of adjustments for his second term.
Yes,
that's what they had to do.
According to their platform, they didn't.
They missed a bunch.
They missed it 19 times.
They missed a bunch
in their official platform, and that to me spoke to really how little focus there is on the details of running this country. If they don't spend any time on the details of their entire platform, what makes you think that they would do it in the smallest of details, like I don't know, shutting down the border or fixing inflation? But that's the thing.
Or correcting your 91 pages of your platform
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
to not talk about Joe's second term.
It mentions it 19 times. And that's the thing, though. There's so many stories out there of Kamala Harris not being prepared for anything, not doing anything when it comes to detail work, not dotting the I's, not crossing the T's. That is such a perfect picture of what she will be like if she is the chief executive. No detail will be ever looked at or corrected or focused on.
I still don't believe they need that out of her. What they need is a puppet to go out there and create this energy around fake joy, around fake happiness, that the economy is great. They need her to keep saying the same lies that Joe Biden did, because in reality, this is a puppet regime and she's the head puppet in charge at this point.
Well, you had Joe last night, and again, he could have slurred a little bit. I'm not going to say that it was exactly the case, but I thought he said 60 million jobs. Now, he could have meant 16 million.
I heard 16.
Okay. It was somewhere like he just goes, 60 million jobs. I was like, okay, as he's screaming at me. So he's throwing out that again, and we've all acknowledged that, okay, that's not actually the number, that it's much closer to about 5 million jobs, one of the slowest recoveries that we've ever had in terms of coming out of a major issue, in this case, a pandemic. And then he continued to talk about things about how we've beaten inflation. We've done. And as he starts going through the list.
Inflation is down.
Inflation's way down. I'm like, okay, we do the whole weight loss thing of I gained 20 pounds last year. I gained 10 pounds the next year. I gained 5 pounds this year. And I'm like, look how much my weight loss is. I'm like, no, you're up 35 pounds from 3 years ago. That's how that actually works, because we're not at negative inflation. But everything he talked about, and it's like the help for the middle class, I have to imagine that anybody else who was watching that went, yeah, that's not my reality.
No, it's not the reality, because they're playing games with numbers. I thought it was very ironic, the corporate greed. I mean, this was pretty much throughout every single speech yesterday. And then he throws out I think we should get it up to 25 to 28% tax. And by the way, Wall Street's at an all-time high because of me. So which is it?
So which one do you want?
Which one do you want to play with?
If you're going to play the game that we should raise our corporate tax rate, just know across the board, corporations don't worry about the tax rate. They pass it along to the consumer. That's how it goes. So if you want to say, hey, look at 401ks, he'd bring that up. 401k is at a record high. Well, that's because we're getting hosed on the other end of it.
That's exactly right.
Because the prices plus what they're at.
And if you want to talk about 401ks, because those are meant for retirement, right? Those are meant for those days when you're done working and you don't want to do this anymore. 1 in 3 seniors have unretired under President Biden. And the reason? Inflation. They can't afford to live.
The fixed incomes.
That's the reason they can't stay retired. I guarantee you, not one of those 1 in 3 want to be back into the workforce. They would like to enjoy their golden years. They would like to spend time with their family, but they can't because they can't afford to. Even if they wanted to go see their grandkids, they can't afford to do it.
Too bad they can't peddle foreign influence. It makes $27 million. Then they'd be all right. It's a great business to get into. But yes, I think that's part of the fear. And when they go out and they lie about Donald Trump wanting to crush Social Security, get rid of Medicare, which are lies, and we know that because that's never been the plan. Donald Trump's correct because not only are those seniors dealing with it now, but if Kamala Harris continues, they're going to deal with it because Social Security benefits are being given out to illegals, not immigrants, illegals. So a lot of that we heard last night was just a playing with numbers and money.
It felt so strange that when I thought about going back, 30-some days, when you were listening to all the speeches that were going over at the RNC, especially Donald Trump's, the mention of Joe Biden was nil.
Well, it's because they don't need to.
Didn't need to.
What was the point of mentioning him?
It was here's the American landscape, here's what it is. And the amount of times that they continued to mention Donald Trump and continue to paint him in this way where if you were to make the argument of what he had actually done, then I would say, okay, cool, I'll listen to that argument. But it was one trope after another where you went, dude, y'all been marching that out for the better part of 8 years. It's like, how tired is that?
But it continues to work.
It works.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're 100% right. But it continues to work.
But here's the reason why I say, okay, I don't know if it works. I mean, the man is still here.
Yeah. Well, it works for their base. But you know what it's not working for? A lot of black men and women right now, because those numbers still keep moving and they still keep coming over. It's not as big as, people are making it out to be on the right, but it's big enough to change the entire election. So I think a lot of people, and I think Carlos is right, it works for their base, but I don't think it's working for the moderates. I don't think it's working for the centrists. I don't think it's working
Peg
for...
gets all fired up.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
she's like,
a done deal,
now,
course,
and I thought this was a good point that I heard leading up to when I was driving over to volleyball last night. I was listening to a little bit of Jesse Kelly, and he talked about an interaction he had with a neighbor. And this neighbor had come over. There was all these people over. And he's like, I'm not looking to talk politics at all. And this person's like, I can't believe what Donald Trump is saying. It's like, well, what did he say? Well, he was talking about immigration. Oh, what do you have to say about it? Well, the thing. Well, what thing? Immigration. And he could not espouse exactly. It's just simply, here's what I say in order to justify my anger towards this person with no detail.
Right.
Okay? And so that's Aunt Peg and that's the rest of them.
No, it is.
Everything that was handed over yesterday was for that base of, we're going to stoke your anger so that hopefully you'll show up to the ballot box. But can we give you any detail? Not really.
Well, no, because there is no detail to give. I mean, what is it that Kamala Harris has planned as president? What is it that she's going to roll out? Everything so far has been very socialist, very communist. So and maybe that would have been something that crowd would have eaten up. So maybe it would have been a good time, but they're afraid to.
That's not the plan.
Because they got beat to death.
No, the plan last night was attack Donald Trump, make him look to be the dictator that we call him. Even during Joe Biden, he referenced that last time I saw this, Hitler was in power. That is the objective of this entire conference, is to paint him back to orange man bad. That you can't have this man, this dictator who's going to take us. They lied about every single thing that they said about him,
of course,
for a reason, because they want to paint him out as the bad guy, and that's all they have is emotion, and it's not Donald Trump.
Well, I still go back to what was kind of really hitting me last night, is that it was one line after the next where I went, well, we've already decided that that's not actually, like, for instance, when Donald Trump says, listen, I disavow Project 2025. I don't have anything to do with it. I don't have any, whatever the Heritage Foundation put out there, that's their thing. And they continued to bring it up like it was the roadmap. And the other fun part about all of it was the entire time yesterday when it looked like Kamala Harris and Tim Walz were basically like eating lemons, okay, it's because as Joe Biden is talking about all of his accomplishments and what they've done together, he's basically being like, you're married to this right
this
here.
Is arm in arm.
You did all this with me. And she's over there going, damn it.
See, but I think there's a little bit of me that believes that he does have I don't know if it's a fondness, but I don't think he hates Kamala like he hates Barack Obama. He hates Nancy Pelosi now.
Okay.
And the others. Because I don't know that he puts it all together that she was just as involved in the coup. You know what I mean?
And
maybe I'm wrong.
Well, maybe he looks at her and says, hey, guess what? You're stepping into the same problem I stepped into.
Could be.
That the puppet masters are going to come after you and destroy you.
Get ready.
So the more that you do this is communism, this is socialism. Be prepared for them to turn on you when you no longer are electable. And I think maybe he has that fondness there.
Could be.
But deep down inside, and again, I think he's dealing with a lot of that cognitive decline. If he goes back and watches actual debates with her, I don't think he likes her at that point.
You're right.
I really don't.
When she calls him a racist.
Yeah. I think it's forgotten at this point because a lot of things in his mind are gone and not remembered. So I think a lot of that is just, hey, this is the game I have to play. I have to continue to play this game. But I love what you said because 100% right. Carlos, he is attaching her to Bidenomics. And she's coming in and saying, oh, Bidenomics, the economy's great because that was the whole message last night. And then saying, but I'm going to fix it all on day one. Why do you have to fix it if you're moving forward and it's working for the American people? The reason why is gas is up still 50%, electricity's up 31%, hotels are up 51%, groceries are up 21%. The economy's not doing well, and the people know that, and they want to continue this lie that Bidenomics is working.
Yeah, as Joe Biden is describing his version of America, I'm sitting back saying, that sounds pretty good. Like, you know what?
If that were reality.
If this was actual reality, I'm just going to guess that maybe the rest of the party wouldn't have thrown you out on your ass.
Right.
All right? Like if everything you're telling me that is going on was actually the truth, I'm like, Joe Biden, you've done well enough to where you should be running right now.
The only thing I would say, though, Rhino, is that for Joe, because you talk about the mental decline and those cognitive skills, he doesn't realize that the economy is bad. He's told every day in that circle that everything's good. Here's the message we're going with. He hears it every day that everything's good. He probably believes it. So when he hands it off to Kamala, he thinks he's handing off like this golden
look what I've given you.
Yes.
Look at this rainbow.
I swear I think that really is what's happening.
I absolutely 100% agree, and I'll tell you why. He kept saying that the middle class is better today than they were under Donald Trump. We know that's not true. We know that the middle class is actually hurting more. But yeah, I do believe that he believes that these policies are working, and why wouldn't you? You got $27 million in your pocket, and you didn't even have to work for it. You're out of touch with Americans. I know he tries to relate in every speech he's had throughout his 3.5 years,
folks,
but he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't really relate to the American people.
Not joking.
You think he's buying groceries? Do you think, when was the last time he paid for gas? When was the last time he got on an airplane? When was the last time he bought baby food? When was the last time he paid rent for anything? No, of course he's out of touch with what the economy is really doing for American people.
That man started talking about border crisis and what they're dealing with, and all I could think of was, you signed 17 executive orders on day one that caused so many of these problems, and then you want credit for, and then I used an executive order to go ahead and change. And I'm like, it was so bad for you
because of Trump
that you went ahead and decided that I've got to use an executive order to help stem the tide of what I did 3.5 years ago.
And he went on stage and talked about how, well, look, it was Trump that killed this border deal.
Trump continues to lie about the border. Here's what he won't tell you. Trump killed the strongest bipartisan border deal in the history of the United States.
Oh, my God.
See, I mean, that's the biggest joke. H.R. 2 was the biggest bipartisan deal in the United States.
Which never even got to the Senate.
Right. And the Senate put it aside. They never even voted on it. Schumer put it away because he didn't want it. Then they came up with this ridiculous border bill. It didn't do anything but make sure that you could get more immigrants across. You would just give them amnesty right away.
Basically, the deal was with that bill that came across the House floor, you were looking at having to have 5,000 crossings per day before you said, oh, we might have a problem. Not that they were going to fix anything, but that, oh, we might have a problem. And then they would act from there. I mean, does that not sound absolutely ridiculous?
Of course it does. Everything they do sounds ridiculous. Joe Biden crying on stage last night was ridiculous. All of it is ridiculous. Anything, I didn't hear anything last night that made me go, okay, maybe.
The one thing I kept going back to, and I wanted to tweet it out, and then I realized I'm like, there's so many butthurt Democrats that I'm just going to leave it alone. You know why he talked about Trump so much? Because over 90 minutes, Trump ended his political career.
Yes.
So, yeah, the hatred is there.
It's like a vindictful hate.
Same with Hillary.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, both
As
of them.
Hillary's up there like, do you realize
the glass ceiling?
Donald Trump ended Hillary.
See through it.
And then, after 81 million votes, Trump then took 13 minutes.
Yeah,
we all knew it was over 13 minutes in.
Yeah.
That man was like, I had a bad night. I'm like, no, you're having a bad life right now. Your brain ain't working right. That man got up on stage to go yell at clouds because he still hates the dude. He probably hates him more than he hates Pelosi because of ending his career.
They all do. They all do. That's all they did was it was an anti-Trump rally. That's all this was. Nothing for the American people, only so they could hear their own cheers.
Give me some policy at some point.
Not going to do it, dude, because there is none. It's going to be a continuation of what Joe Biden has done.
I thought it was interesting on Fox what Harry Ford brought up. He's like, well, we'll probably get into more policy. And again, he's saying this sheepishly. He's like, probably down the road. Okay. If you think you're going to get policy over the next 3 days, you ain't getting no policy.
Dude, who was it? We saw someone on CNN. Oh, it's running the tip of my tongue when they were saying, we don't want her talking about policy. It was over on CNN. We want her to be quiet on policy because every time she talks about policy, it goes south. Anytime she talks about anything other than Donald Trump or what's on the teleprompter, things go south for her. 7 o'clock hour brought to you by Van Sant Law. If you're in an accident, make the right call. VanSantLaw.com. Strategic Communications. I sound like Joe Biden. Strategic Communications Director for the RNC, Tommy Pigott, joins us next on the Morning Extra on Extra 1063.
Atlanta radio legends, proud military vets, national network experts are all on Extra 1063.
It's going to be an interesting couple of months.
With live and local shows in the morning and afternoon, and the biggest conservative hosts in the country throughout the day. We are always here with the latest news and opinions you need.
There's no chance if the media and the Department of Justice and social media are all against you.
No traffic interruptions, no former shock jocks, just Atlanta legends you've turned to for a generation. The conservative voice of Atlanta. Extra 1063 FM and the Extra app.
Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watch Company, where quality and value make the difference. Locally owned and located in Sandy Springs, offering you the finest selection of unique diamonds, sapphires, rubies, and emerald jewelry, as well as other fine gemstones. Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watches has been servicing Rolex watches for over 30 years, and their Rolex-trained watchmaker will service your watch in their state-of-the-art Rolex service center in their store. Lee Brandt uses only genuine Rolex parts, and their estimates are free. Drop by Lee Brandt in the Trader Joe's Shopping Center in Sandy Springs or visit LeeBrandt.com.
Have you heard about Sonder and their Georgia-based Medicare Advantage health plans? Sonder Health Plans is committed to revolutionizing healthcare, making it straightforward, personal, and affordable. Call them and ask if you qualify for their fantastic $400 grocery card offer and $0 premiums. They've even got their own radio show and podcast called Weekend Wellness, dedicated to keeping all Georgians healthy and happy at every age. Call 800-331-2928 or visit SonderHealthPlans.com. Sonder Health Plans is an HMO with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in Sonder Health Plans depends on contract renewal.
The Atlanta Braves are proud to host Alumni Weekend presented by your local Ford dealer, August 23rd through the 25th, when the Washington Nationals come to Truist Park. The weekend kicks off Friday with a Braves Legends Parade through the Battery, followed by an alumni roll call on the field. Saturday's activities include autograph sessions with your favorite former Braves and the always competitive Home Run Derby competition. Don't miss the fun. Find all the details and get your tickets at braves.com/alumni weekend.
When you're leaving the house, do you plead with your garage door? Please open, please open. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage and Entry Doors. Let us take that anxiety away with one quick call. Our highly trained technicians will get to the bottom of your garage door issues. It could be a simple repair, a malfunctioning opener, or maybe just needs a tune-up. But if it's time for your garage door to be replaced, we'll make that easy too with upfront pricing and free estimates. When trust matters, trust us. All the number 4 Seasons Garages.
When it comes to protecting your assets and ensuring peace of mind, trust the expertise of Nelson Eldercare Law. Our Absolute Protection Trust is designed to provide unparalleled asset protection. Visit NelsonElderCareLaw.com to discover how our specialized services can safeguard your family's future and assets, offering you the assurance you deserve. NelsonElderCareLaw.com.
You're out with friends and a few drinks becomes a few too many and you decide to drive anyway. What's the worst that can happen? Drive sober or get pulled over.
What's up, Atlanta? It's Ben Burnett, host of the Weekend Ben Burnett Show. Each and every weekend, right here on Xtra 106.3, we unpack all the week's events. We talk about all the issues with a local Atlanta-based flavor. You can catch me each and every weekend, Saturdays at 2 and Sundays at noon. If you ever miss an episode, you can go to the podcast park or wherever you download all of your content, and I'll be right there. Thanks for listening to the Ben Burnett Show, proudly brought to you by Butler Snow.
When you buy a Subaru from Subaru of Gwinnett, you're buying more than a vehicle. You're buying safety for your family and something that will last a long, long time. In other words, you're buying trust. For a limited time, you can celebrate amazing offers on the all-new Forester, Crosstrek, or Outback during the Subaru A Lot to Love event now through September 3rd. Plus, you can enjoy special financing on select new 2024 Outback models. And you'll love more than just your new Subaru. You'll love the dedicated staff at Subaru of Gwinnett with some of the best service specials in the area and a team you know you can trust. You'll ride with peace of mind knowing that Subaru of Gwinnett has your back. During the Subaru A Lot to Love event, you'll find that Subaru model you've always dreamed about at a price that makes that dream come true. But you'll need to get in by September 3rd to take advantage. We'll make it easy. Just start with a test drive. And before you know it, you'll be in the Subaru you love. Start your shopping online at SubaruofGwinnett.com. Then stop by on Satellite Boulevard in Duluth. SubaruofGwinnett.com.
Democracy 24.
Higher income households left the state of Minnesota during Governor Tim Walz's tenure. His state lost thousands of households with roughly $5 billion in adjusted gross income due to migration, according to the IRS. In 2022, Minnesota ranked 8th in income loss, coming in after high tax states like Illinois, New York, and California. The state's job growth lags behind the nation. Minnesota has grown jobs by only 1.4% from 2019 through the first few months of this year. The nation has grown jobs by 5.8% during the same period. And Minnesota's growth in gross domestic product trails that of the nation. Minnesota's GDP grew 6.2% since 2019, compared to 11.5% growth in U.S. GDP during that time. Lydia Hu, Fox Business.
Media Minute with Howard Kurtz.
The most important piece of the last few days is when the Washington Post generally liberal editorial board trashed her economic speech, saying, unfortunately, instead of delivering a substantial plan, she squandered the moment on populist gimmicks. Well, that may be true, but if she were to win, and she is the underdog against Donald Trump, and this is not wage and price controls, it's nothing like that, it is good politics. Here's Josh Barrow in The Atlantic saying, I don't like the economics, but it's hard to argue with the politics. She's trying to win a presidential election, and to win an election, you run on popular ideas. Meanwhile, when Trump held his second news conference in about a week, MSNBC refused to carry it, saying, well, he lies all the time anyway. So spend the next 22 hours saying what you thought was false and untrue. When Donald Trump won in 2016, it's because people liked his tough guy persona. With your Media Minute, Howie Kurtz, Fox News.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines, presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Tuesday, August 20th. The Georgia State Election Board voted 3-2 to require a rule that each county board would meet on the Friday after the election to compile vote totals by precinct and ballot type. The rule also allows election boards to examine all election-related documents for discrepancies and conduct investigations until issues are resolved before certifying the results. Board member Janice Johnson said the rule is needed to ensure accurate vote counts. No lawsuits have been filed to challenge any new rules. Atlanta police arrested 5 individuals after they sped off from a music video shoot where concerned citizens had called about young males brandishing weapons in the neighborhood. The 5 suspects who drove away were stopped by police, who found all 5 carrying illegal guns. The driver, 20-year-old Jaquarvis White, admitted he had not had a valid driver's license. All 5 individuals were arrested and charged with unlawful firearm possession. The officers also seized $10,000 in cash and several rounds of ammunition. The suspects were transported to Fulton County Jail. And the Atlanta Braves look to gain some ground on the first-place Philadelphia Phillies. The two teams will open up a 3-game set at Truist Park beginning tonight. The Braves, who have 7 games left with the Phillies, are 7 games back of those first-place Phillies in the NL East. Reynaldo Lopez will make his return to the mound tonight in a 7:20 start. Austin Riley was put on the DL for 6 to 8 weeks. He will not be there. You can catch all the action tonight on our sister station, 680 The Fan.
We welcome Tommy Piggott to the show. He is the RNC Strategic Communication Director. Tommy, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Of course. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. With the DNC going on, what do you expect to hear out of them? Because it's got to be something to do with January 6th, abortion, or any of the other, buzzword and emotional type things that they always talk about, and probably going to be very, very light on anything to do with the economy with the fallout of this whole price control thing.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that this, I think, is a reminder that Kamala Harris owns Joe Biden's record. She can't run from it. She can't escape from it. The White House communications director was on MSNBC today and said point blank that Kamala Harris was the partner in all of these governing decisions that led to the worst border crisis in U.S. history, weakened us on the world stage, led to an economy in shambles. Importantly, they can't run on the economy. They can't run on the border. They can't run on foreign policy. So I expect them to flat out lie about that. But the record speaks for itself, and I think you're exactly right to point out that price controls fallout. It's been such a disaster for her, one of her first policy proposals, and she goes full communist. I mean, there's no other way to put it. But they can't really run on policy, so I expect lies, and I expect smears of the other side.
So tonight, I believe the talk is that we're going to talk about the threat to democracy, and at the same time, you have Joe Biden, who received 14 million votes, a little over 14 million votes, to be that Democratic nominee. And yet they're going to talk about a threat to democracy. How do Republicans strategically talk about this tomorrow and throughout the evening today about what they're going to hear tonight from the DNC?
Well, specifically on that, I think you just brought up the contrast that's so important here. They claim to be the party of democracy, but they're anything but. They literally threw out 14 million of their own primary votes to install a Democrat nominee. 5 or 6 people telling the rest of the party who to vote for. That is the opposite of democracy, and yet that's exactly what you see on the Democrat side of the aisle. I mean, and let's also not forget the fact that Democrats have literally tried to kick President Trump off of the ballot. They've tried to throw him in jail. They've tried to weaponize every institution against President Trump, as well against conservatives across the country, against parents concerned at school board meetings, against pro-life Americans. They've tried censorship, coordinating with the big tech companies to censor information. That is the opposite of democracy. And I think the American people see that, and calling out that hypocrisy from Democrats, calling out that the opposite of what they sell themselves to be, is going to be incredibly important.
Considering that when we watched the RNC last month, you had a whole lot of regular people, just average Americans, who were getting up on stage and talking about their experiences over the last 4 years and the economy that they experienced under Donald Trump versus this one. I firmly believe we're going to get a whole lot of make-a-believe. It's always the joke that we call it make-a-believe over the next couple of days. And I think that's going to be able to highlight when you start to have these people get on stage and tell you how wonderful things are. I think it makes for perfect campaign fodder for Donald Trump and for anybody else who's running down ballot.
Yeah, I think it's going to be quite the contrast between a Republican National Convention, which really highlighted, like you said, everyday Americans, because we're the party of everyday Americans. We're the party of the grassroots. We're the party of the people, versus the Democrats, who are relying increasingly on quote-unquote influencers or celebrities to try to get out there and convince people and try to deny reality. And I think it is going to be trying to put on a show, try to distract people from the fact that the economy is worse now under Kamala Harris. The border is the worst case it's ever been in U.S. history under Kamala Harris. Foreign policy, we see our enemies emboldened under Kamala Harris. And I think you're exactly right to point out that the big problem they have when they try to lie and they try to distract people is the reality does not match what they're saying. People know the reality every single time they go to the grocery store and they see food prices up close to 30% under Kamala Harris. That's a reality they see day in and day out. And then for Kamala Harris to come in and literally suggest a communist policy, and that's the liberal Washington Post calling it that, not the RNC, not the Trump campaign. Liberal Washington Post has called this a communist policy. It shows that they have no ideas that have ever worked to suggest to the American people. They're going to the worst policy ideas in human history, really, to try to present to the American people, and the American people aren't going to buy it.
Tommy Pickett is the Strategic Communications Director for the RNC, joining us on the Morning Xtra. Tug, Rhino, and Los. I said this earlier, Tommy. When I look at the people gathering at the DNC, and I don't mean any of the politicians, I mean the people outside of the DNC, the hundreds of thousands that are supposed to be there to picket and riot and tear up. And I think when Americans look at that, they don't see themselves reflected in what those people are doing. I don't understand how the Democrats don't see that. How can you help me understand it?
I really can't. And what's worse is that Kamala Harris is listening to those people that are protesting outside the convention. I mean, just listen to what she's done recently. She has met with pro-Hamas groups. She has suggested openness to an arms embargo of Israel, an arms embargo of Israel. I mean, so Kamala Harris sees those protesters. She sees the policies of the far-left squad, and now she's elevating them to be the central platform of the Democrat Party. She is the farthest left presidential candidate ever to be put up on a national ticket, without any exception. I mean, and then you have Tim Walz, who is similarly dangerous to liberals. So the two of them together, it's the farthest left ticket in general to ever be put up on the national level. It's really, she has a dangerous liberal record. She's elevating these far left voices. And it's astonishing to me that when it comes to these anti-Israel policies that she's supporting, she hasn't expressed an openness to reinstating maximum pressure on Iran. That's what we should be doing. But instead of putting pressure on Iran, stopping that regime from funding their terrorist proxies, she is betraying our ally and expressing openness to an arms embargo. It's the exact opposite of what we need to do.
Yeah, I mean, when you have Barack Obama sending $1.7 trillion in cash, I mean, it's hard to get on Iran at that point. But Tommy, I'm Jewish. I grew up Jewish. My family's Jewish. And one thing I always said is similar to what Donald Trump said. I think you're crazy if you vote liberal and you're Jewish. Don't understand it. I know he's going to get a lot harder of a time for it, but when I watch what's going to happen over the next few days, I know what it is. It's anti-Semitism. To me, it looks like they have supported anti-Semitism. So why is Donald Trump getting such a hard time? And how do you communicate that, hey, look, this is hate. This is anti-Semitism, and you should have your head examined if you vote for them?
Well, I think the first thing is to call it out. We've seen Republicans do that, whether it's by bringing those university presidents before Congress and calling out their refusal to stand up to anti-Semitism, whether it's calling out the protests themselves, whether it's calling out the fact that these far-left protests are trying to have religious tests for people to enter certain parts of campuses. In the United States of America, I mean, it's completely outrageous. So calling it out, standing up to that. And then I think it's also making sure that we call out the Democrats for refusing to stand up to it. And quite the opposite. Many Democrats are actually meeting with these far-left radicals, really promoting the anti-Semitism in their own party, which is so disgusting and so outrageous. And yet they continue to do it. There's only one party that is committed to combating anti-Semitism, only one party that's committed to standing with Israel, and that's the Republican Party. And I think what we're actually seeing, according to recent polls, is that many Jewish Americans are becoming Republicans. We're seeing Jewish Americans supporting President Trump in these polls at levels unseen in many, many decades for a Republican. And we believe that's going to continue because the Republican Party has a message about combating anti-Semitism, standing with our ally Israel, and then has a message for all Americans about economic prosperity, a message to secure the border, and a message for a strong America that stands with our allies and has a secure and peaceful world.
Do you do a media buy for those areas? I mean, if I were, and as a Jew, I talked about this earlier, when I saw Tim Walz marching stormtroopers down a street, telling people to get inside, and then shooting those people with paintball guns, boy, that brought up memories of my studies of the Holocaust and Nazi Germany. Do you do ad buys in New York and certain other Jewish areas where you know Jews are prevalent and will see it?
Well, Well, we've launched a Trump campaign and RNC, Jewish Americans for Trump Coalition, which is part of building that grassroots effort. We're going to have specific ad buys that are really targeting these battleground states, but we are reaching out to Jewish American voters. We're building that coalition. There's a series of people that are involved in that effort that have endorsed that effort, prominent Jewish Americans and Jewish Republicans that are standing up and saying we need to support President Trump. And so we expect that momentum to continue, and we're really dedicated to reaching out to Jewish Americans to get that message out there. And when it comes to Tim Walz, Tim Walz praised an anti-Semitic person in Minnesota. I don't even know what the proper term is to use to describe him. It's not a preacher. It's not a
He's a cleric.
Religious leader. That's some of the
he was a Muslim cleric.
Him. Yeah, Muslim cleric. But it's like some really heinous rhetoric from this man that Walz praised. They have a terrible record, and it needs to be called out.
RNC Strategic Communications Director Tommy Pigott is our guest here on the Morning Extra. Something that is different about this time around versus 2020. Obviously, with Elon Musk getting involved with X, buying the platform, it is now the most popular news platform in the entire world. How much of a help is that, not having to worry about the censorship that we saw in 2020 when you're looking to turn around Democrat messages from the DNC and quickly get that out to the public when they say something a little bit wild over the next several nights?
Well, it's really a shame that it's even a discussion we have to have. Unfortunately, we see other big tech platforms that still have massive censorship. Right after the assassination attempt, for example, Facebook's AI was labeling pictures of the assassination attempt as doctored images, pictures showing President Trump with his fist in the air and the American flag in the background. We've seen other AI platforms do the same, call the assassination attempt a fictional event. So we continue to see reported censorship from big tech platforms that we are calling out. If you go to Google, for example, and for the longest time, if you were to type in the assassination attempt of President TR, you would get Truman as your suggested result instead of Trump. We're seeing this censorship across many of these big tech platforms, but having a platform like X where you can actually get the truth out there is incredibly important. And it's a shame that in today's America, we're having a discussion about a fair platform being the unique example of a platform that's operating. All platforms should be fair. There shouldn't be the censorship. There shouldn't be this election interference. So it's incredibly important to have those free spaces. It's incredibly important to have a platform where you can get your message out there. It's incredibly important to getting through the bias of the mainstream media that we see in the traditional fake news media. And we're also seeing, based off of that recent X space with Elon Musk and President Trump, it was the most successful X space in history, close to 1 billion impressions of either that interview itself or discussion around the interview. So we're seeing the ability to reach people across the country, reach people directly with the facts and the figures they need, and we're able to cut through the fake news that is doing so much work to try to cover for Kamala Harris.
Final thought here with Tommy Pigott. He is the Strategic Communications Director for the RNC. Lay out Georgia for me, because we had this discussion on the show earlier, that we feel like Georgia's good for Trump. What does Team Trump see in Georgia? What do they expect out of Georgia? Because Kamala is about to spend money, a boatload of money on this station as a conservative station to try to sway some people, I suppose. I don't know that that'll work. How does Team Trump look at Georgia?
Well, we're looking at Georgia as an incredibly important state. We believe President Trump is going to win Georgia, that he has the advantage. In Georgia, there was a recent rally in Atlanta where you saw the crowds that President Trump was able to pull without any sort of celebrities needing to be the draw for people to show up. He was able to pull those crowds just because people wanted to join this movement to save America. President Trump has also invested heavily in the state of Georgia, both from a ground game perspective, but also an ad buy perspective. We've seen those investments being placed. So President Trump and the Trump campaign is extremely committed to Georgia. We're building out that unprecedented ground game in Georgia, that election integrity operation in Georgia. And we're also, President Trump's been to Georgia. He's going to continue to go to Georgia. So the plan is to really focus on winning Georgia. And like I said, we believe we have the advantage there and that President Trump is going to come out ahead in November.
We certainly hope that's the case. Tommy, thank you so much for taking the time with us this morning.
Thanks for having me on.
Always, and always welcome back when we continue on Extra 106.3. The lies continued last night at the DNC in night one. The biggest has been debunked so many times, and yet it was reiterated again. Next on the Morning Extra, Tug, Rhino, and Los until 10.
The legend Neil Bortz is live every week with Atlanta legend The Kimmer.
On TikTok, it only takes for teenagers. Now remember, teenagers do not have rational thought capabilities.
For sure, yes.
They think they know it all. They think they can think their way through it, but they are physically and mentally incapable capable of thinking rationally.
They're just not done yet. They're getting here, but they're not quite done. They're really not quite done.
No, yeah, they need to stay in the oven just a while.
A couple of years, 3-4 years, and you're fine. Yeah, 2, 3, 4 years.
But anyway, it takes 10 minutes for TikTok to radically change the mindset of a teenager. 10 minutes of reading this crap on TikTok, and they can fully indoctrinate a teenager.
Bortz and the Kimmer are only on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Hey, America, and all those not named Tug. Hey, it's Los. Let's talk about Howard Brothers and Echo Power Equipment. Do you know that next month we're having the Echo Power Equipment one-day sale over at Howard Brothers? Mark this on your calendar because this happens one time a year. It's going to be on September 11th. You can visit your local Howard Brothers for fantastic deals on Echo Power Equipment. Now, this isn't just about mowers, all right? This is about everything. We're talking chainsaws, blowers, trimmers, every piece of equipment. Echo does a one-day sale and makes it available to you. Well, what do? Well, you got to get over to Howard Brothers, and you can meet with them, talk with them with their local expertise, their local knowledge, and they can help you depending on, hey, type of yard, type of project, whatever it is. It's very consultative. You basically describe what you got going on and what your goals are, and Howard Brothers can help point you in the right direction when it comes to your purchase of Echo Power tools. Again, mark it on your calendar. It's going to be the early part of next month, September 11th. It's going to be the one-day sale for Echo Power Equipment over at Howard Brothers. The grass is always greener when you take care of it with Echo and with Howard Brothers.
As an official community partner of the Atlanta Braves and the Atlanta Braves Foundation, the Warrior Alliance connects warriors and their families to free services such as health and wellness, housing, employment, education, legal services, and so much more. We need your financial support to increase our impact and change thousands of lives for those who served in the U.S. Armed Forces. It takes more than just thank you for your service. Make a donation to help warriors navigate to success after service. Go to thewarrioralliance.org/donate and make a difference today.
This is an announcement to all United States vehicle owners who own a 2003 or newer vehicle with a manufacturer's warranty about to expire or no warranty coverage at all. With a struggling economy and the cost of living on the rise, Endurance is now offering an affordable, low-cost vehicle coverage plan to the general public. As of today, you could be one of millions of drivers that now may qualify to have your vehicle protected under this coverage and have all future covered auto repairs paid directly to the repair shop for you. You pick your plan. You pick your deductible. You even pick the repair shop. Roadside service, towing, and rental coverage is included. Get your vehicle protected now and save your wallet from costly vehicle repairs. A toll-free number has been established for you to call for your free 5-minute quote and to see if you qualify. The number to call is 800-298-9383. 800-298-9383. Again, that's 800-298-9383. Coverage, deductibles, and claims may vary. For details, go to endurancewarranty.com.
Diamonds Direct Atlanta is now open. The nation's fastest growing jewelry store now is a location right here in Buckhead. Shopping for the perfect ring to pop the question? Or maybe an everyday diamond tennis bracelet? The experts at Diamonds Direct are sure to have exactly what you're looking for, no matter the occasion. With the lowest direct importer pricing, you can expect the best selection of certified diamonds at unmatched prices, all within a luxury showroom atmosphere that makes you feel right at home. Come see what other jewelers are trying to replicate. Diamonds Direct's unbeatable after the sale guarantees and warranties are the best you can find. Free cleanings, sizing, polishing, accent diamond replacement for the lifetime of your purchase. If that's not enough, they also offer a 110% upgrade policy for you to use as often as you'd like on your diamond engagement ring, pendant, or studs. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, come see how Diamonds Direct is reinvigorating the jewelry industry at their brand new Buckhead showroom. When you want to have complete confidence in your jewelry buying experience, shop with the experts at Diamonds Direct. Now open on the corner of Maple Drive Northeast and Peachtree.
Live and local news talk continues at 3 p.m. with Kimmer, Pete, and Flounder. It's the Kimmer Show, only on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Make sure you download that app free for Apple and Android. Just search for XTRA 106.3 FM Atlanta and listen live and on demand to the Morning Extra. Tug, Rhino, and Los until 10. I think the lie that got the most attention and that has gotten in most people's crawl is the one about Charlottesville. I mean, even Elon Musk retweeted a Snopes article, which Snopes, a leftist outlet that doesn't really do fact-checking all that well, but even they say it's a myth.
Well, this is the problem that we have when you have Joe Biden going up on stage, and as soon as he starts talking, you know what direction he's going because he's told the lie for the better part of now 5 years that the reason why he ran was because of Charlottesville, because Donald Trump ended up saying something like this.
The president was asked what he thought had happened. Donald Trump said, and I quote, "There are very fine people on both sides. My God." That's what he said. That is what he said and what he meant.
So that was he continues to say that same line, that the reason why he ran is because Donald Trump, when talking about Charlottesville and talking about in this case, the way Joe Biden put it last night, the neo-Nazis came out of the woods with their torches and they didn't have, the KKK didn't have their masks on. They came out of the woods and he was saying they're very fine people on each side. Nope. Let's go through the very simple part of it. When Donald Trump talked about the removal of American statues and people that were supporting it and people that were against it, he said there are fine people who have points on both sides. Take a listen to this piece of audio where he actually, this is the audio where he actually brings this up, and this has been so misconstrued over the years that Joe Biden actually decided to launch his campaign off of this.
But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group, excuse me, I saw the same pictures as you did. You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down of, to them, a very, very important statue and the renaming of a park from Robert E. Lee to another name. So you know what? It's fine. You're changing history, you're changing culture, and you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
How much more clear can you be?
You can't mix it up unless you're doing it on purpose.
He flat out says people that were arguing over the Robert E. Lee statue, he's like, I get it. There's fine people on both sides, and I get why the argument's there. And then he goes to point out neo-Nazis, any of these groups, no argument here. These people have something wrong with them.
It's an entire campaign on misinformation, to paint someone bad, to paint someone as a dictator, to paint someone as he said. That's the last time I saw something like that was because that's what Joe Biden went on to say in that cut. The last time I saw something like that was Nazi Germany. That is the idea that they want to point, and they will do anything using lies and misinformation to control their power.
Isn't it funny how Tim Walz, though, is the guy that was just talking about how important it is to make sure that we're fact-checking, to make sure the information is right and correct. And then during his coronation as the VP, I mean, it was just last week when he was saying this, and I don't see him waving his hands. I don't see the guy that's concerned about misinformation saying, hey, none of this is right.
How have we gone the better part of 5 years? And I get it. A lot of things from 2020, people just stopped asking questions. They just said, feed me the narrative. Tell me what's going on. We always go back to the same thing. George Floyd didn't die of asphyxiation. Okay, that's what the state medical coroner told you. He had 3 times the lethal dose of fentanyl. Pretty interesting. But that's what it comes back to. It's that when it's politically expedient, these people continue to make up their narratives, and that man and Joe Biden felt more than comfortable getting up in front of the entirety of the country and saying something that has been debunked for the better part of 5 years.
I mean, if I wanted to lie and then the entire media just reprinted all the lies that I told and then congratulated me on those lies instead of fact-checking me, I'd probably do it too, maybe.
Absolutely, because
right?
why not?
Why not? So that's where, I have a really big problem with people not looking into the truth or just ignoring the truth. Go back and read. Go back and watch the actual footage.
That would take effort, Rhino. That would take effort.
And that's a shame. That's a shame that you're willing to put, because as much as they say, I'm here for the entire country. No, you're not. You alienated just half the country.
You always say half the country.
Yes.
There are threats to democracy.
But let me just illustrate with a simple tweet how crazy these people are. You mentioned just pointing out how Elon Musk ended up taking a Snopes article and said, when Snopes points it out that it's a hoax, it's a hoax. You then had, a handful of people that were all talking about this has been going on for the better part of 7 years. There is one person on Twitter who said, sorry, he did say it. I heard him live. Won't forget it. And that is where then you have this cascade of people going, you're mentally ill.
Well, and they are.
And they are.
Or at least they're not to the point where they are emotionally honest.
Sure.
They cannot look past their hatred of Donald Trump to be emotionally honest because they're clearly not.
First response is, then you are mentally ill. He said 100% that he condemned the neo-Nazis and said that the people that were there about the statues, it was another Democrat media hoax. Aren't you mad about being lied to? And that's the point.
Never. No, they're never mad at being lied to. They were lied to for 3.5 years about Joe Biden and his cognitive ability. And they bought it. Not only did they buy it, they knew deep down inside that they were reiterating a lie that was told to them. Because there's no way they looked up there and said, yeah, he's ready to go. Their only hope was, we can get rid of that dictator. The dictator that they told us was a dictator. When are you going to start separating all the lies and start breaking them down one by one to realize that you've been lied to for over 8 years about a man, about Donald Trump? They are doing the same thing communists do. They're telling you what someone else is guilty of when they're actually guilty of it. When they talked about misinformation and having a board, it was about shutting down the actual information and being able to continue their misinformation.
Maybe I've just been in the media long enough that I never take anything I read and go, okay, that's the point. It's always like, let me hear it in context. Let me see the entirety of the point. The amount of people, whether they go on Twitter or anywhere else, and they're actually shown, here's the entirety of it. Similar to that Silicon Valley millionaire.
His name is Mark Pincus. He's the guy that designed Zynga games. And if you play games on your phone, you probably have used his product.
And he flat out was like, I did not know. And it took me the better part of 5-6 years for him to look into it. And he goes, wow, I was lied to for this long and I bought it.
But he's not the only one.
He's not the only one.
Gosh, there's so many.
And Joe Biden felt more than comfortable to get up in front of the country and tell the same tired lie in the same way again.
Because there's so few Mark Pickuses. You know what I mean? There's so few of him that go, ding. Oh, wait. I'm being completely led around by my nose. The rest of the people are just like, yep, that's what he said. That's what they told me he said. So that's what he said, even though it is not even close to the truth. It doesn't matter. It's like truth does not matter whatsoever. Mm-hmm. If you are in love with hating Donald Trump, you're going to stay that way. My Aunt Peg isn't changing to save her life, even though she's the first to complain about how everything's more expensive. Why do you think it's more expensive? It's pretty straightforward. The answer's not hard to find. I mean, all you have to do is look. The progress from 3 years ago to where we are now. I mean, you have to be blind or willingly misled to not know why things are more expensive and to vote for it again. I'm going to vote for it again. I'm going to complain about it, but I'm going to vote for it again. It's unbelievable. It really is. When we continue on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3 after Neil Bort's report and a Fox News update, Joe Biden's going away. That big party they had in Chicago, he bumbled and stumbled through it and lied all the way to vacation in California. Next on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3.
It's time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
Not exactly a hard-hitting political commentary, but, maybe it is. On the road in the Bortz bus last Friday, ran over something in the road. It looked like a spike. It's about 7 inches long and easily a half an inch in diameter right into a tire. I immediately had a warning in the cockpit, we'll call it, managed to get to a safe place, and here comes a tire technician to patch it up so that I could get to my destination, where, by the way, I'm buying a new tire. While he was working, I talked with him a bit. He's making some pretty good coin, over $60,000 a year, more than any college graduate with a gender studies degree or history or English or black studies will ever make. And he has no student loan debt. I remember a conversation I had with Bernie Marcus, one of the founders of Home Depot. How many, I asked him, rank and file employees working the stock, working the shelves, the aisles, the cash registers, retired as millionaires because they invested in Home Depot stock as an employee? The answer, about 3,500. None of them with student loan debt. You don't have to go to college to be a success in this country. In fact, in many ways, it can actually slow you down and be a detriment. That tire technician and the knowledgeable product experts at Home Depot are worth far more to our society and to themselves and their families than anybody with a gender studies degree. And Lord help us, how long is it going to be before people graduate with transgender studies on their diploma? God help them. Choose a trade, folks. Go after it. Live well. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
What's up, Atlanta? It's Ben Burnett, host of the Weekend Ben Burnett Show. Each and every weekend, right here on Extra 106.3, we unpack all the week's events. We talk about all the issues with a local Atlanta-based flavor. You can catch me each and every weekend, Saturdays at 2 and Sundays at noon. If you ever miss an episode, you can go to the podcast park or wherever you download all of your content, and I'll be right there. Thanks for listening to the Ben Burnett Show, proudly brought to you by Butler Snow.
Customer service seems like a lost art these days, but EMC Security is bringing it back. I was blown away with their service. They answer the phone quickly and truly want to help you, which is rare these days. My technician was friendly, answered all my questions, and got everything installed perfectly. I highly recommend EMC Security.
EMC Security, exceeding customer expectations since 1998. Call or visit emcsecurity.com for a free quote.
Get ready for Real Talk on The Janelle King Show, where we tackle kitchen table topics that are banned from family gatherings, but crucial for a strong republic. Tune in every Saturday at 3 p.m. and every Sunday for an encore episode at 9 a.m. And if you can catch us live, great. But if not, no worries. New podcasts drop every Tuesday on the Podcast Park right here on Extra 106.3 or wherever you get your podcast. Join us for insightful conversations that matter.
I just don't understand how Democrats can just sit back and watch their party tell you your vote doesn't count. Let us elites decide who's going to run.
The Kimmer Show every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app. WFOM and W292 EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. The 8 a.m. hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air.
Late night send-off in Chicago. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
It's been the honor of my lifetime to serve as your president.
And right after addressing the opening night of the Democratic Convention, President Biden's gone on vacation, wanting Vice President Harris elected to replace him.
She'll be a president we can all be proud of.
She joined and hugged him on stage after saying ahead of her Thursday speech,
"Let us always remember, when we fight, we win."
Hillary Clinton also took the DNC stage, critical of her 2016 rival.
Kamala cares about kids and families, cares about America. Donald only cares about himself.
Former President Trump's visiting battleground states.
Kamala Harris is an economy wrecker and a country destroyer. Our country will be destroyed if she gets in.
That was in York, Pennsylvania. Today, the former president will campaign in Howell, Michigan, outside Detroit. Back to Chicago. More pro-Palestinian protests are expected that after some demonstrators angry about the U.S. support for Israel in the war in Gaza were arrested.
A few dozen protesters, some of the really radical ones who seemed prepared for trouble. They broke off from the main march and they managed to breach that outer fence, that security fence, just about 2 blocks north of the convention center. Some of them actually had sledgehammers and chains in their knapsacks. Most of the ringleaders wore masks.
Fox's Steve Harrigan in Chicago as talks continue today trying to broker a ceasefire in Gaza. Israeli forces recovered the bodies of 6 more dead hostages Hamas kidnapped back in October. A senator will resign today. Bob Menendez is leaving weeks after the New Jersey Democrat was convicted of federal charges, including bribery and extortion. This today after George Santos, who was expelled from Congress, pleaded guilty to fraud and identity theft and got emotional.
I hope that by facing these consequences head on, I can begin to demonstrate
my commitment to change and to earning your forgiveness.
Santos faces prison time. America's listening to.
Well, summer's here and the weather is beautiful. Everyone has a favorite outdoor activity: golf, bike riding, bird watching, long walks. Ask 100 people, you'll get 100 answers. But if everyday aches and pains are keeping you on the sidelines, I have one answer: Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. Wherever you're hurting, back, neck, joints, or muscles, in 3 weeks or less, you'll start to feel the difference all day, every day. So whatever you like to do, swimming, pickleball, hanging out in the garden, Relief Factor can help you feel good again and let you enjoy all your favorite outdoor activities all summer long. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor.
No traffic, no big deal. It's the Morning Extra on 106.3.
What a kickoff for the DNC. They put Joe Biden on the first night to symbolically wish him a farewell. I don't know that anybody cared one way or another that Joe's leaving. They stabbed him in the front. And it's not like they stabbed him in the back. I mean, they just outright stabbed him right in the chest. So I think they're happy to see him go because they know that he couldn't win. That's the reason it happened. They gave him this ceremonial send-off that was supposed to be convincing to people, I suppose. There's not a soul that was in the United Center last night that believes that Joe Biden is this savior, that he stepped aside because he was doing the right thing to save democracy, since that's what he seems to always be doing. Everybody in that building knows that he was pushed out the door, that there was an actual coup that happened. You heard Nancy Pelosi say it on CNN. There was an actual coup. I had to do it. I did what I had to do.
Have you talked to him? Is my only question.
What I have to do.
Right.
He made the decision for the country. My concern was not about the president. It was about his campaign.
I had to do what I had to do, and I did. They weren't afraid to. They're not afraid of it. Yet, even knowing that, even saying that aloud, they made this grand. It was almost like a play, Los. It was make believe.
It felt like, if you were familiar with the story of Julius Caesar, it felt like they knifed him in the back. And then they woke him back up just to say, hey, but we appreciate everything else you did.
I know you're bleeding.
I know you're bleeding out and you're dead, but
please stand up so we can pretend that this did not happen.
We want to appreciate your corpse and what it did for us in Gaul. Okay? That's how it felt last night.
It was all make-a-believe. It was like nothing I've ever seen before in my entire life. And so many people acted like it was the real deal. The people in the audience at the United Center, Rhino, they physically clapped. Yep, that's what's happened. Signs. We love you, Joe. They love that Joe's gone. They don't love Joe.
No, it was a rally of communism. I joked with you guys. You might as well put a hammer and sickle. They were cheering for every idea that is a communist idea, and they continue to go down the path that this country is doing well. They're lying to themselves. They're lying to the American people, but they've been forced into this. They've been told they have to have this energy. They've been told by the media that there's this amazing energy going on. And you know what? They are creating that in these. Now, again, these are all delegates. They're all paid to be there or special guests. Funny enough, you have to get past and over a wall, and then you have to show an ID to get in, and it's not racist in their minds. But at the same time, that's exactly what this is. It's a misinformation campaign, and it's all based on joy and hope. And, you know, the same reason that Hillary Clinton attacked Barack Obama on these things. They're creating this idea of a utopia that they know will never happen. It's a pandering at a next level.
14 million primary voters. And after they took away the nomination from him, they then stood him up there, made him wait for an extra, 45 minutes. It was supposed to be 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because the last thing that we had between each other was at 10:50, and that's when Jasmine Crockett was on stage, and that was still two or three people beforehand.
You don't talk about make-a-believe.
Man,
I don't mean to derail you, but
there was a lot of craziness there. So by the time Joe hits the stage, it's 11:45. I don't think he's done till 12 something, whatever it ended up coming down to. And there was a look on all the commentators' faces of, and that's why he's gone.
Right. Well, when he couldn't speak, I mean, so many times he mumbled and stumbled through that.
He screamed at you for like 45 minutes.
Well, yeah, he hollered at you. And then he couldn't complete thoughts. Joe, do you have that cut? The one where he was trying to talk about women having electricity or something?
Oh, yeah, the electricity comment.
Some craziness.
Women are not without electoral.
What?
Huh?
It was.
Wait. Are we talking about two different things?
I get it.
Who brought in the power grid?
You're going to have a misspeak or you're going to have a stumble here or there, right?
Especially that late for him. He's out of his 4 o'clock window. His 4 p window, the cutoff.
But that was the problem, is that he's had an entire 4 years of that. And the fact that he was on the biggest stage as basically saying goodbye as a send-off, and he still gave you one of those moments where he's confused and stammering.
And everybody in that arena goes, yep, that's why he's gone.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that, and they knew that he was going to lose. He was going to get destroyed. He got destroyed in 90 minutes, and the campaign was going downhill. The poll numbers weren't good for them. Even when they were using Eternals that went for Democrats more, they saw a lot of Democrats voting against him because they knew that he was not going to make it another 4 years. And I think that's really relevant into where we are today. Instead, what they did was install another candidate, and we've got 78 days to make a decision, and we haven't heard one issue or agenda from them except for, oh, Trump is bad, Trump's a dictator, Trump is bad, Trump is bad, Trump is bad, Trump. That's all they're drilling into people's head. They're not giving you any ideas of how they're going to move forward. They're lying to you, telling you Bidenomics is great, but they're going to fix it day one. Everything is a ridiculous pander to a group, and they have no plans to fix the economy, nor can they.
Well, the base is the base, and that's going to be there. And we're going to see the same thing where the Republicans are going to vote accordingly. At some point, when you talk about the middle, you are going to have to talk about policy. And that's what so far was lacking from night one. There was not one point where there was actual policy detail or an overarching view of here's what we plan on doing. They spent a whole lot of time telling you about what they did. Mm-hmm. But the problem is that when you start looking back on what they did, there's a reason why, as we're going to get the job numbers tomorrow, they're going to be revised down by 1 million. And we're still dealing with inflation, even though they sat back and said, hey, it's down to 2.9%. Well, it's been the better part of now 30% over the last 4 years. That's the cumulative effect of it. So start telling me about what you're going to do next. Mm-hmm. And that's where that middle is sitting back saying, give me a reason to vote for you. You're not doing it.
They talk about how Kamala isn't a part of anything that Joe Biden has done. Right? They're trying to separate her. At the very same time, they talk about how that she's going to fix everything. Mm-hmm. So it's either she's part of it or she's going to fix it. But either way it goes, it's bad, and she's married to it. It's like a do-si-do, man. You can't sling off your partner there. Your partner's Joe Biden, and the failures are yours. And everybody said it. I think you just said it, Rhino. If you were going to fix it, why aren't you fixing it right now? Why wait? Why do you have to wait till January to fix it?
Yeah, why would you wait? Why wouldn't you be on it today? Why wouldn't you be continuing with Bidenomics? Because out of one side of your mouth, you're saying the economy is great and what we're doing is working, and we're going to continue down that path of Bidenomics. At the same time, you're saying all the costs are too high. Well, the only reason they're high, they weren't high in 2019.
That's right. You can afford to live. You can afford to eat. You can afford gas.
Yep. Gas was way lower then. Yeah. So was everything else.
But let's vote for somebody that's going to continue us down this path.
But then we have to break down everything else that they told us they're going to do. Remember, they said they're going to do a 25%. They wanted 25. Now, Kamala Harris said 28% on her own tax on corporations. Just use your head. What does that mean? That means it's going to get passed down to the consumer.
Of course,
that's a tax on you. Not only that, if they do that, you have to remember that every product is made in many different pieces. My hat is a thread company. It's a cardboard company that builds the cardboard for the brims. It's somebody who does all the strings and all the threads. Each one of them are going to be taxed 28% higher. Where do you think that's going to be passed down? The cost of goods. But not only that, they're going to fight price gouging. Again, down the road.
We're going to cause it and then fight it.
Right. So when you say, hey, I want to make this food, it costs this much to make, well, then we got to go to that company too and tell them they're gouging, and that company and that. And what about the machines? Because that's how much the machine costs to help me make this. So now we got to go after them. Everything they're doing is the basis of communism, the basis of socialism. And what it'll do is it'll drive down this country and ruin the economy forever. I don't think we have 4 years to allow them to do that.
Not available. We don't have 4 years that we can wait. If you have savings and you see it dwindling, and that's for folks who have saved well, and the majority, let's be honest, the majority of Americans haven't. But when Donald Trump was in office, savings were at its highest. People were earning the most that we'd ever seen in the history of the United States. And now it's the exact opposite. Savings are dwindling. People can't afford anything. You're seeing record defaults on credit cards, record defaults on new cars or people's car payments. Here's another one I read, y'all. I was reading this last night. We are at a point in the United States of America where homelessness has struck people with decent paying jobs. People that work like for Amazon as delivery drivers that make decent money, that are homeless, mechanics that go to work and make a decent salary, yet are homeless, are sleeping in their car that they're defaulting on the payment with. That's what Joe Biden's America looks like.
So Joe Biden had another gaffe last night. He talked about increasing illegal immigration, which, and the fun part about it is that really a gaffe? Is he flat out telling you what the plan is? When you allow in 10 million people, and that's conservative number, 10 million people, you stress all of your services and you cause basically the regular tax-paying American to have to fork up more money to make this stuff work. To think that that's just going to continue to happen, as much as we may be looking and saying, okay, what's going to change in the next 4 years? Man, when you let in 10 million people, you've already ended things anyway. The only way you get it back is by brutally getting rid of them.
Yeah, Argentina style.
And I don't know who has the stomach for that. I got the stomach for it, but not everybody does. And the first time that they show you deporting a family from New York and going, oh, they're sending them back to Guatemala. Oh, they just wanted a happy life. And that's on the CBS Evening News. People tend to lose the stomach for it.
Yeah. No, that's right. But it needs to happen. I mean, it's ugly. It's awful. Trump says he's going to do it. I do not believe he will do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty tough, it's pretty tough to get through Congress and Senate unless you have the complete majority, and that's what you have to win. In fact, the same thing on the other side. Most of the stuff that she's throwing out there communist-wise, it will never get passed through the House and the Senate and the legislative branch anyway. Let's hope, because if they win the Senate and the House, same thing, we're in deep trouble. But you got to start somewhere. And I think what you need to do is we need to make sure that we're not looking at the families first. What we need to do is look and say, hey, look at this criminal background. We missed this at the border. We were supposed to do DNA testing to check, and we didn't. We let it fail. Why? Well, who cares why now? What we need to do is say, hey, these criminals need to go. And it's not just brown people. We need to make sure that we're passing the message on that these illegals are coming from China. These illegals are coming from everywhere. And if they don't have a reason to be here, if they're the military age man, they don't have family, they're not working, they're not doing anything, it's time to go ahead and get them back to where they need to be. I don't think that that's a big deal, getting rid of criminals out of our country that weren't supposed to be here, that broke the law to come here in the first place.
See, that was what was never brought up last night, and it's never going to be. This is not just a spending issue, all right? This is what it cost us issue. And that is, it's almost a sunk cost, where once you have illegals, like for instance in the city of New York or even in Chicago was happening there, when they're going to the ER and they're getting regular medical treatment for anything they want to.
Because the ER can't turn anybody down.
No,
they
exactly.
don't have the ability.
From a legal standpoint, they treat everyone, and that bill then gets moved along to you. That's just how it goes. So when you have someone from China, from Afghanistan, from Venezuela, show up and say, hey, I've got some problems with my eyes, and they say, okay, well, this is going to require some sort of surgery, that's on you, America. You're the one who has to pay for it.
Yes.
That's how that goes. And so until you start getting rid of that and then remaking your house, this is what your house is.
It ain't going to change, dude.
It's brutal.
It's not going to change.
That's how it goes.
I don't expect it's going to, even if Trump's elected, I do not expect there to be a mass deportation. I think it's a good talking point, but I don't think it happens.
You know what you need, and there's some issues that go on when you have somebody has one term. But if there is a silver lining, you don't face re-election.
No, you're right.
And that's if you're going to be brutal,
do it.
Now's the time to.
Now's the time.
Just don't.
It's what Biden was trying to do, even though he can't wake up or get off of vacation. But when he talked about, putting in new rules for the Supreme Court and fundamentally changing the Supreme Court and term limits, he is trying to push that football. I think Donald Trump has that same opportunity. The problem is that J.D. Vance now would be the next step. If he were to win, J.D. Vance is supposed to take over at any time. From those 4 years on, we're hoping 8 years, and you get 12 years of good Republican policies. That'd be great. But then you pass it on. So that's going to be the hard part. I don't know if you can deport. I'm with you. I think it's something that is a pipe dream. I don't think it's going to happen. What I do think is, again, you approach it from a criminal aspect. We get rid of criminals regardless. I mean, I think that's more important.
Yeah, that's something I think the American people have the stomach for. When you see families being taken out of the country, even though they've broken the law to be here, even though they shouldn't be here. And I don't mean they shouldn't be here ever. There's just a rightful way to do everything. Mm-hmm. And when those people are taken out and you see them on TV, and believe me, it's not like the networks are going to give the positive coverage of here's why we're doing this. They're just going to talk and shriek about how Donald Trump and Republicans hate immigrants. That's going to be the presentation.
But the problem ends up being, all right, can I be the dad in the room on this one?
Please do.
The criminal element, outside of when we're talking about crossing into illegally, because at that point, everyone's a criminal.
Sure.
But we're talking about the real criminal
murderers,
element.
rapists, gang members.
They're a tiny minority, and they don't really matter in the big scheme of things. You got to get rid of everybody.
Of course you do, but it ain't going to happen. That's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying that
I think you start there. I don't think you start there and then show a little bit of progress. Then you can start talking about others that are breaking the rules or are not really contributing to America. But again, it's going to be a really hard time to do it.
So hypothetically, you get rid of 1%. Because that's in mainstream America, violent criminals are like 0.01% of the population. All right. So let's just say that it's larger in the people that cross over here. So let's just call it 1%. Okay.
Sure.
A larger amount.
So a million, let's say there's 10 million, a million people.
We're talking, you're going to go get rid of, let's say, 10,000 out of a million people. And that's the only ones you're going to do?
Yeah.
And by the way, if we're talking 10 million people.
Now, wait, hold on. Are you talking about just
10,
violent crime, or are we talking about all crimes?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like when you start off by saying violent crime, what I'm saying is it's such
I didn't say violent crime. I said criminals. That not take it on, besides the illegal crossing, criminals in general. I'm talking about robbery. I'm talking about breaking and entering. I'm talking about stealing bikes. I'm talking about criminals in general. And again, yes, you're right.
But
it's a small amount.
It's a small amount.
But you start there.
Yeah, but
in comparison to the majority.
Mm-hmm. But I think Rhino's right in the fact that at least the American people have the stomach.
So you need less police. But you need less police. You save money there. You save your community. You
at least
save
there's
money
an appetite
there.
for that.
There is.
I don't
you got to start somewhere.
But until you're ready, and it's brutal.
Yeah.
And I admit to it, and I'm fine with it. Until you're ready to get rid of the dude who is obeying our laws and just came here to paint houses, wash dishes, do whatever. He came here illegally.
Yeah, no, he broke the law.
You got to go.
Absolutely.
You and the rest of your friends.
That's right.
But that's the stomach that I don't know if we have that.
That's why I'm telling you we do not have it. I don't believe we do.
Because it's easy for us to say, you committed some sort of crime, you did this, you got to go. That's the easy one, but that is a fraction of who these people actually are.
Imagine that being painted in the news, though, when they do go and get the person who's doing everything the right way, now that they're here. And yet, I'm telling you, dude, it will be blood-curdling.
I'll trade those
response
to keep them here, and then we get rid of the domestic terrorists that continue to burn things in Atlanta and send them out
right.
for breaking the law. Those criminals out.
They got birthright.
Yeah, absolutely. They're here. And
they also got a right to go to prison.
Right. We need to do what Argentina is doing. We need to take our medicine, just like Argentina's taking their medicine. I don't believe we have the stomach for that either. I want to believe we do. I don't believe we do. Until I see it, I will not believe it. Morning Extra at Extra 106.3, 8 o'clock hours brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, 770-GET-HEAT. CentralHeat.com is their website. When we come back, AOC said Trump would sell out America for $1. On the day we learned that Joe sold out America for much more. Next on Extra 106.3.
The 2024 election changes by the day. So with the future of the country on the line, you need more than headlines. You need the conservative voices you can trust, which is why the Conservative Voice of Atlanta brings you the local and national voices you need most to make sense of all the noise. We bring you proud veterans, Atlanta Talk radio legends, and local perspectives that shape our communities.
It's going to be an interesting couple of months right here on Extra 106.3.
Hey, it's Rhino here for my friends over at True Prep in Marietta on Cobb Parkway. We've been talking about it all day. What are we heading towards? What are you prepared for? Well, hopefully you're prepared to make sure that your family's safe. In so many different ways you can do that. And our friends over at True Prep, a locally owned and operated company, in fact, owned by Matt and Joey, both engineers, graduated from Georgia Tech. They know exactly what you need. They know how to engineer everything you need in case of an emergency. I'm talking about freeze-dried food, prepackaged, or you can do it yourself. Either way, they have everything you need there for that. You'll make sure you have a food supply for you and your family. Water filtration. And we're not talking about the water filters that require power. We're talking about, in case of an emergency, water filtration, that you know you have a clean supply of water. Firearms, first aid kits, ammo, all the things you need in case of an emergency right here in Marietta on Cobb Parkway. Tell them Rhino sent you over there. If you're new to prepping, don't be nervous. Get prepared, and they'll help you do it. But they even have another tool that you need to know about, and those are their important workshops. Workshops that they do all the time, like their Intro to Preparedness Supplies, their AR-15 care and maintenance, their workshops for the community, like their tactical civics meetings or their blood drives. They care about you. They care about their community. So care about them. If you're going to spend your money and you're going to protect your family, do it with True Prep in Marietta. Tell them I sent you over there. And make sure that you go visit them online. Check out all their workshops that are coming up this weekend and the following weekend as well, including the Intro to Emergency Preparedness. And you can do that at trueprep.com. That's TRUprep.com. Prepare today for a worry-free tomorrow with our friends over at True Prep.
Foundation repair isn't pretty, but at Atlanta Ramjack, we make it easy. If you notice any cracks in your foundation, they need to be addressed as soon as possible to reduce additional costs that come with the repair. Why call us? Foundation repair is all we do. We have highly trained estimators that will thoroughly evaluate your home and only recommend what is needed. If you are experiencing foundation problems, please contact us at ramjack.com/Atlanta or call us at 770-502-8881.
Neil Bortz here. Maybe you've already taken the steps to improve your health, maybe save your life. You're using a CPAP for your sleep apnea. I've been using one for well over 20 years. So right now, I'm here to tell you about a source for CPAPs and CPAP supplies here in the Atlanta area. CPAPs, etc. They're in Alpharetta. They have whatever you need. Roddy and Sharon are your CPAP experts, and they'll ship nationwide. More information, CPAPs.com.
Tune into your new favorite show that's redefining the A to Z's of marketing, the Marketing Mad Men. We'll take you behind the scenes of successful campaigns and reveal the strategies that win. We're not just talking about marketing, we're making it happen. From viral content creation to leveraging AI for customer engagement, our experts bring you to the cutting edge of industry. This is your playbook for market dominance. Tune in and transform your approach with actionable tips that could skyrocket your ROI. The Marketing Mad Men every Saturday at 4 p.m. right here on Extra 106.3.
Have you heard about Sonder and their Georgia-based Medicare Advantage health plans? Sonder Health Plans is committed to revolutionizing healthcare, making it straightforward, personal, and affordable. Call them and ask if you qualify for their fantastic $400 grocery card offer and $0 premiums. They've even got their own radio show and podcast called Weekend Wellness, dedicated to keeping all Georgians healthy and happy at every age. Call 800-331-2928 or visit SonderHealthPlans.com. Sonder Health Plans is an HMO with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in Sonder Health Plans depends on contract renewal.
Blow on energy? Struggling with inflammation and poor digestion? Try Encapsulate 6 Mushroom Blend and get back in the game. Our blend is specially formulated to promote overall wellness and maximize health benefits using 6 powerful functional mushrooms. Our science-forward approach offers the most potent and bioavailable mushroom supplement on the market, backed by third-party testing to ensure safety and efficacy. Order online on Amazon or encapsulateusa.com today to start your journey to better living. Enter promo code 680 for $10 off.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
All right, here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Tuesday, August 20th. The Georgia State Election Board voted 3-2 to require a rule that each county board would meet on the Friday after the election to compile vote totals by precinct and ballot type. The rule also allows election boards to examine all election-related documents for discrepancies and then conduct investigations until issues are resolved before certifying the results. Board member Janice Johnson said the rule is needed to ensure accurate vote counts. No lawsuits have been filed to challenge the new rules. Atlanta police arrested 5 individuals after they sped off from a music video shoot where concerned citizens had called about young males brandishing weapons in the neighborhood. The 5 suspects who drove away were stopped by police, who found all 5 carrying illegal guns. The driver, 20-year-old Jaquarvis White, admitted he did not have a valid driver's license. All 5 individuals were arrested and charged with unlawful firearm possession. The officers also seized $10,000 in cash and several rounds of ammunition. The suspects were transported to the Fulton County Jail. The Atlanta Braves look to gain some ground on the first-place Philadelphia Phillies. The 2 teams will open up a 3-game set at Truist Park beginning tonight. The Braves, who have 7 games left with the Phillies, are 7 games back of the first-place Phillies in the NL East. Reynaldo Lopez will make his return to the mound tonight in a 7:20 start. You can catch all the action on our sister station, 680 The Fan.
I've said it many times. You should just go to church. Things would be better if you were going to church. And I believe that. Here's an opportunity for you to go to church.
With Tug.
Yeah, look, absolutely. Smyrna Public Safety Foundation's Hot Rods and Heroes, they're doing it, as well as the Battle of the Badges softball game at Smyrna First Baptist Church.
Featuring Rhino.
Rhino behind the plate, calling balls and strikes. Hey, Blue, you missed it. He's a good Blue. He'll get the next one right. Come on.
And he dances the entire time.
Exactly. It's amazing.
True story.
I mean, dude just gets after it. It is 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. on the 7th, September 7th, and it all benefits the Smyrna Public Safety Foundation. Fundraiser is going to be a big time, and second annual Chiefs Awards with the ball game.
And ladies, let me warn you that I will be bending over to clean off the plate in my small bike shorts.
That's right, 2-button bike shorts.
So I am taken.
Yeah.
Please do not come up with me. You can't have me.
You can lust, though.
But you can look.
Yeah, if you want
like a menu.
You're not supposed to be
you just can't order off the menu. You can look at the menu.
I like that. It's like if you just want to get a small peek of his talent, but you can't have it.
Yeah.
How you doing, boy? I can hear it now.
Listen, it's like having a calendar of beautiful women. You go, whoa.
Yeah.
But it's just a calendar. It's the same concept. He's moving in front of you. Right. You can't have it.
We got to do better. This is going on at the church.
I'm going to shake.
We got to do better. We can't have this conversation. This is terrible. This is no good for nothing.
God made this butt.
Yes, he did.
Right on the butt.
And he made it fine. Boy, he made it fine.
Are you going to, we should get you a soapbox to stand on and help us and find Jesus and God.
Buddy, I have found Jesus. I know where he is.
I know, but you need to help the rest of us.
Well, look, it's easy. Just call on his name. He will listen to you, I promise. They are doing Touch a Truck, too. That's another thing. They're going to have the SWAT trucks out.
Sketch needs Jesus.
What's that?
Sketch needs
yes, he
Jesus.
does. What's up, brother? We all do, though. Oh, yeah, we all need Jesus. Every one of us.
More so Sketch.
Yeah, see, but that's where I disagree. We all need him equally. The best part of the day is
he's working from a deficit.
It's the car show. If you've got a car that you would like to show off, $20, you can enter it in there, man. I don't know. Maybe you got an old General Lee. Maybe you got a 77 T-Bird.
Yeah, something you take care of.
Absolutely.
You're proud of.
Chevy.
$20, man.
Absolutely. Old Model T. I see every now and then I see some of those around.
2016 Subaru Outback?
Yes. Well, look, yes. If you want to show it off, Joey, you can do that.
That's in the lesbian division over on the other side.
That's right.
Hi, girls.
Yeah. My alternative lifestyle car. Check this out. No, but anyway, so make sure you go out there. Absolutely. It's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, cool
and we jest and joke and pull one another's finger and have fart jokes and all that sort of stuff. But it'll be fun and probably wholesome, unlike the show.
Well, I mean, let's face it. If you want to find something to do with your kid that's cool and chill.
Touch a truck at a minimum.
Man, like even as an adult, when you still have some of those whether it's some of the armored personnel carriers or anything else like that they roll out, I'm like,
fire trucks.
I can't wait to get in it and be like, whoa,
child.
so cool.
It beats, and I'm sure they'll have patrol cars out there too. It beats getting in the back of a patrol car like on a Friday night or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Do
It's
it
much
for
better.
fun where they let you out the other side.
Right, exactly.
That's
You
right.
get in, see what it's like.
You just
and
get
get right back out.
you get the experience.
That's right. Yeah.
That's it.
Man, I've never had the experience. Have y'all ever been arrested? I never have.
Yeah, I have.
I did have one time where we did have a off-duty police officer pull his service weapon on us.
Uh-oh.
And
he had to write a report, so he must have been serious.
Well, we were all 16 years old, and he basically escorted us all home because we were throwing romaine tomatoes at cars.
Yeah. Wow.
So, but that's the only time I've had a gun pointed at me that I can remember.
You were throwing tomatoes? He pulled a gun on you for throwing tomatoes?
You ever get
That
one of those
seems
seeds in your
excessive a
eye or
bit.
the acid from a tomato? It burns.
We started what we thought was a chase, and we thought it was a friend of ours, and it wasn't. And when he hit his dome light on, and basically he took his car and he put it in front of ours, and we hit the brakes, and he hopped out of that car with that pistol
Pit
pulled.
maneuvers and pistolas.
And the worst part about it is, so we all have our hands on the roof, and we're all like, oh my god, it's an off-duty police officer, and we've totally messed up. And right then we had Thriller playing in the car. And you hear, they're out to get you. And we start kind of giggling a little bit. And he yells, that isn't effing funny. And we're like, sorry, sir, it's a song.
I'm just peeing my pants right now.
So,
gosh.
So, but we weren't arrested or anything else.
That's good. That's good.
No, I got I actually got arrested and then released because they realized that it wasn't me they were looking for. But they got me in the handcuffs though and got me in the back of the car until everything got sorted out.
Yeah.
But yeah, they put in my driver's license number thinking my license was suspended. They arrested me and put me in the back of the car, and then they realized, oh my God, we're so sorry. We put in the wrong number. And we were like one number off. We hit it and they let me go. And I was
important.
like,
it's important to get the number right.
Yeah.
I can imagine you sitting in the back of the car and just thinking to yourself, how have I found myself in this situation?
Yeah.
Somebody who's like paid every ticket, taking care of everything.
You know your license is not suspended.
And you're sitting there thinking to yourself, you have the wrong man.
Yep. Oh, God, it was so frustrating because what do you say? Like, how many criminals say, it's not me, it wasn't me, I didn't do it.
Everyone
So I figured,
every one of them.
But luckily, I said, can you please recheck? That's not, because he said my name's Steve.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, my name's not Steve, it's Scott. And he's like, hold on one second. And he goes and puts it in. He goes, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Bad.
He was a really nice guy. Listen, I mean, he made a mistake and so be it. But
yeah, sometimes it happens. Well, you handled it well then, sounds like.
Yeah.
Morning Extra, Extra 106.3. AOC last night, though she's a cutie. And I can't help but I have to watch her on mute because, she sounds crazy.
Your lustful ways kick in.
We're still trying to push you towards, Anna Paulina Luna.
Which I think is so much cuter than...
So much more beautiful.
And I don't have to listen to her on mute.
Right.
And so, but...
Come on.
Like, there's plenty on our side of the aisle. And
but
you're like,
I'm not
it's
that at all.
It's forbidden fruit. I get
maybe
it.
that's it.
When you look at her, I want you to see a lizard person who's going to eat your soul.
Yeah, what was that? Because there was something going on. Explain that, what was going on with her?
Oh, that was the redheaded lizard lady.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That?
What's her name?
I saw that.
Yeah, she's one of the state senators that her tongue kept coming out like really like long, like hitting her chin. I would say that weird. She had cotton mouth. She was probably nervous, whatever it may be.
Try drinking a glass of water or something.
Right. But I was expecting Tiffany Gomez to come out there and be like, that MFR ain't real. That's a lizard lady right there.
I've been on an airplane with these people.
But I think you need to think of AOC like that. Look at her bulging eyes. And look at,
bug out.
Like lizard eyes.
Dude, they bugged out of her head like it was a WWE event. And
I see like razor teeth when she smiles.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I see in her. I'm not...
Yeah,
I get what you see. I don't see that anymore.
Yeah, it's hard to because you listen to her talk. And when she went on to say Trump sell out America for $1. And the fact that she said it, the day that she said it is the day that Joe Biden was found to have, according to the House committee, found to have earned $27 million off of selling out America.
What a great payday.
Yeah, what a great payday. And it was all because his son, Hunter, was working the business deals. Now, we know because of Hunter's laptop that Joe knew everything that was going on. Joe had an involvement in it, according to the House committee. And the voicemail that was on Hunter's laptop saying, hey, the New York Times got an article, but they only mentioned, you in passing, and I think you're in the clear. So it tells you everything you need to know. Everything he's told you has been a lie. But we'll let you hear AOC real quick in her statement.
We have to help her win. Because we know that Donald Trump would sell this country for $1 if it meant lining his own pockets and greasing the palms of his Wall Street friend.
What a joke.
What
a joke. In fact, this is a man who didn't take his presidential salary, so your entire lie is there. Let me tell you about AOC, by the way. This is a woman who sold out New York, sold her entire district out by telling Amazon and celebrating Amazon pulling their business out of New York. And Andrew Cuomo said that just cost us 25,000 jobs. You want to talk about being someone for the working people and selling out? She pushed out 25,000 jobs in New York. Don't forget that about this woman.
It's such a strange change where back in the day, 30 years ago, you used to have such a thing as blue dog Democrats. You also had liberal Republicans. You had people that had a kind of a balance to how they looked at things. And one of the issues that you had that was always tied in was, well, the Republicans, they're the party of Wall Street. Man, Wall Street, like big tech, left the Republicans about 20 years ago.
Yes.
They are strictly a product of the left now. And so when you have on one end, Biden telling you about take a look at your 401k. I'm like, well, that means corporate profits are doing pretty good.
Yeah.
And so your friends in Wall Street are all taking care of.
Yeah.
So when she just goes with that element, some of this stuff was so, and we talk about chess versus checkers. It was so checkers at some point where you just say, wait a minute, you're talking about corporate greed and having these people that are aligned with Donald Trump. Who made more money for them than anybody? Y'all have.
They sure have. And that's the distraction that they want to keep out there. Notice what the pattern was. There were very few male speakers yesterday. They were all women speakers. Most of them were women.
It's a cat lady party.
Yeah.
The futurist women.
Most of the women,
Or female,
most
or
of the
whatever that
people in the
t-shirt says.
audience, and there were plenty of men there, don't get me wrong, but most of them were women. And that was the rallying cry, was to pander to the emotion. And that's where they're going, because women are more emotional. And Clay Travis said it best yesterday. I thought it was brilliant what he said. He talked about, guys, you have a group of friends. All of us have a group of friends. Some of us have the same friends. And our wives or our girlfriends go, hey, I know he's your friend. I just don't like him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like him. Why? I don't know. He's creepy. He just doesn't well. He parties too much. He's too goofy. And then that person marries or settles down and actually settles back. But it doesn't matter. It never changes that opinion of Donald Trump. Same thing. You'll never change that opinion of the friend. These women aren't going to change their opinion. That's who they're catering to, because that's what they did yesterday. They pandered to women, and they had women up there all night.
By the way, so just to kind of give you an overview, we've talked about this before, but what will typically happen in all these elections, so married men end up voting Republican by about a 25% margin. It's always a larger group than married men voting Democrat. That's the first and foremost. Married women tend to vote Republican by about a 20% margin. So again, overwhelming majority there as well. You then have unmarried men, single dudes. Well, they vote Republican as well by about a 15% margin. It's an overwhelming majority. To think about that 25, 20, and 15%, an overwhelming majority of single women who vote Democrat.
I mean, I don't want to say
they're talking to.
Single women are angry, because not all of them are.
Well, they just need man.
But
they're not with man.
There's so many of them that are angry about something. Maybe it is about relationship status. Because dude, you can pretend that's not a big deal. Or people, not you. People can pretend that's not a big deal.
Well, it is a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
They can't find anybody to love.
Nope.
Or procreate with.
I'm just saying that when they spend, if you would just stop showing up to these different rallies and complaining about how, listen, I get it, you're overweight, and you're sitting back going, everybody wants to rape me. Nobody wants to rape you. I can't believe it. Feminism, and Rush Limbaugh had this right for all the times he'd say it. Now all the feminists would go crazy about it. But let's face it, feminism has been put way on the back burner because we're now in charge.
You can't even say what a woman is.
No, we're big fans of now saying that men can be better women than women. So feminism was how ugly women were able to get into society
and be listened to.
Yeah. Now that's out the door. So why do you think they're voting in this angry way? Because they lost their ticket to the party, man.
Yeah,
they had a seat at the table, and that's now out the door. Because guess what? If Rhino and I decide we want to be women, we're better women than you are.
That's true. I am a great, great woman.
I'm the best woman in this room.
I'm a better woman than Hillary Clinton.
I can't wait to see y'all. I'm not going to take the...
I'm a better woman than Big Mike.
But that's why you're going to get women for the rest of this thing, because they got to talk to the single cat ladies. And as much as, I'm so upset about what J.D. Vance had to say, he wasn't wrong, brother.
Yeah. That's why it rings so true. That's why it pisses people off. You know what I mean? It's kind of like comedy. When comedy has an element of truth, or there's truth where the comedy comes from, it makes it funny. And if it is offensive to you and it's true, it'll piss you off even worse.
And from what I'm looking at, Liz Wheeler, she had a post about the things that women find most unattractive.
Yeah, you got top 5 going.
Dude, I got 3 out of the top 5.
Gambling,
I've got gambling, I've got video gaming, and I didn't even know online trolling was on there. I didn't even consider myself a troll. I got 3 of the top 5.
Oh, you're fantastic.
Ladies, I am a catch here.
That's right. Your wife has done well. Morning Extra on Extra 106.3 when we come back. Trump's counter-programming to the DNC. In the all-important swing states, the discussion next on the Morning Extra. The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's Tug, and here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
I get enough flack on Facebook in response to my postings there. All these people telling me, you hate Donald Trump. Well, first of all, I don't hate. I've said repeatedly, I like what he does. I do not like what he is.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
I want to tell you what you can do to improve the look of your home. You can reach out to Southern Exteriors. They will do incredible work for you and your house. It will be the envy of the cul-de-sac, and it will be that home that you bought when you first saw it, that you couldn't wait to move in, and maybe it doesn't have that sheen anymore. Maybe it doesn't have that luster that it used to have. Maybe it's not the envy.
Hey, Tug.
Hey.
This is your house.
Hey, house, what's up?
You need to go ahead and get me taken care of. Call Southern Exteriors.
Well, you know what?
I'm feeling a little rough lately.
Where specifically, house, do you feel rough?
Just all along the side.
Yeah, I could see that.
I need a little bit of an upgrade
You
here.
do. And see, that's the thing, house, is we can call Southern Exteriors and we can say...
Call them now, right now, Tug.
Do we need to, A, replace all the siding, house, or do we just need to, get you some bandages? Make things look better. Maybe correct some of the siding and paint it all up, and then everything will be looking good. What about energy efficient windows, elegant entry doors, durable patio doors? They've got the perfect fit for your home. Plus, you can take advantage of 0% interest and no payments for 6 months. All right, house, here's what we're going to do. We're going to call Southern Exteriors today, 877-9-SOUTHERN. Or if you don't want to call, you can check them out first on their website. It's southernexteriors.co, southernexteriors.co.
As an official community partner of the Atlanta Braves and the Atlanta Braves Foundation, the Warrior Alliance connects warriors and their families to free services such as health and wellness, housing, employment, education, legal services, and so much more. We need your financial support to increase our impact and change thousands of lives for those who served in the U.S. Armed Forces. It takes more than just thank you for your service. Make a donation to help warriors navigate to success after service. Go to thewarrioralliance.org/donate and make a difference today.
Get ready for unfiltered conversations on The Janelle King Show, where we tackle the topics that you won't hear at your family gatherings, but they're absolutely crucial for a strong republic. Don't miss us live every Saturday at 3 p.m. and every Sunday at 9 a.m. right here on Extra 106.3. But if you can't tune in, that's okay. You can catch new episodes every Tuesday on the Podcast Park or wherever you prefer to get your podcasts. Join us for these discussions, and I can't wait to meet you there.
Hey, everybody, it's Neil Bortz, an actual attorney spokesperson for Van Sant Law. Notice the heavy traffic out there? Yep, school's back in session. Things can happen. Sometimes people aren't that careful. Maybe an accident. But David Van Sant, he's there to help smooth the way for you if somebody you love gets hurt. Call Van Sant Law at 855-GA-INJURY. 855-GA-INJURY. First call after 9/11, Van Sant Law, 855-GA-INJURY.
Hey, Hey, it's Tug from my friends, the Frost family of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about their family's company all the time here on Extra 106.3. First Liberty has helped hundreds of small businesses grow by saying yes when the big banks say no. On Wall Street, opportunities to earn big returns are everywhere. But for Main Street investors, those opportunities are hard to find. Until now. Our First Liberty notes are now open to qualified Main Street investors, paying interest rates of 8 to 13% while helping fuel the growth of small businesses right here in Georgia. With a few basic qualifications and with as little as $25,000, qualified Main Street investors just like you can earn an 8 to 13% interest rate. If this is you, they'd love to hear from you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and consider joining the First Liberty family today. That's FirstLibertyGA.com. FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Your voice, your vote. And this year it matters more than ever. So for the unbiased election coverage that affects your family and your community, trust the voices that matter when it matters the most. Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Oh, the crocodile tears at Joe Biden stepping away last night at the DNC. It was happening all around the building, acting like this was some sort of a sad moment that Joe Biden had stepped away. No, it was a moment to rejoice. They said Joe did it to save democracy. He did it for the good of the country, knowing that he didn't want to do it. He said at the airport that he still believes he could win. So that tells you where his head's at. But you'll see more of that tonight. You'll probably see a little less Joe Biden mentions because now that they've got him out, now they got him out of the way, they probably won't mention him.
They send him to the
signs.
beach.
That's right, those signs. Somebody set those on fire in the back, never to be seen again.
You don't think you're going to see We Love Joe signs today?
Maybe one accidentally got left under a seat or something.
Yeah,
somebody found
this?
it. He'll get tackled trying to get rid of it. That way his name's not ever invoked again. But
change the J to an H, and then you'll be fine. Hold that one up.
Exactly right. They're not going to allow that. Though.
No,
the censors would come after you. They're restricting freedom of speech in order to save democracy. You know, and that's kind of been what they've done for, I don't know, the last 4 or 5 years.
By the way, J.D. Vance made a really funny comment. Kamala Harris spoke for 2 minutes last night at the DNC, which was enough time for her to list all of her successes as vice president and still have 1:45 to kill.
Yeah, and cackle. and that voice. Oh, my God, that voice. It's like nails on a chalkboard. But Donald Trump doing some counter programming. He's got an event 3 o'clock this afternoon in Howell, Michigan, I believe is where it is. And so he's going to be visiting during the DNC. He's going to be visiting a bunch of swing states, which is the right thing to do. Obviously, you're not going to be able to take the media attention off of the DNC. I mean, they have it squarely in their sights, and the mainstream media eats it up. They agree with everything that's being said. So it's going to be tough to get any sort of attention for Donald Trump. So what is he doing? He's going to the people.
Yeah, I like what they've done. They've counter-programmed the DNC. Now, these are afternoon events, so he's got an opportunity to go ahead and set up the lies that they're going to do from the day before like he did yesterday, and I think he nailed it yesterday. When I watched the rally yesterday, he was just telling you, they're going to attack me, blah, 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 and gave pretty much exactly what the entire event was going to be about at the DNC. Today, he is going to be in Howell, Michigan, like you said, speaking to the sheriff's office in Howell, Michigan, and holding a rally there at 3 o'clock. Now he gets an opportunity to go back and say, here's what I saw yesterday. They lied to you about the economy. They lied to you about the border. Now he can go ahead and give facts. As long as he stays on that path, I think it's really good for him, Los.
I want to give you a lot of love for this because when I read through this in our show notes, so I'm not egotistical about very many things. Like, I don't care about cars. I don't care about what my kids are up to. I'm not sitting there bragging about it or anything else. I am egotistical about being like, man, I see what's going on. I see the seams on the fastball. And I went, damn, Rhino's got that nailed. I was like, the idea of seeing this situation that you have with this convention and going, not only am I going to counter-program this, but I'm going to give you the stuff ahead of time that they're going to bring up, and you're going to go, it's like a checklist. It's almost like a drinking game. You're like, here's what they're going to say about me tonight.
That's the important.
It just disarms it.
That's the important thing about Trump today being at these counter-programming events is he should be rattling the cage.
Yeah.
He should be saying things that get attention. And I know most of the time nobody wants him to do that, including me at times. But right now, the only way that you're going to take some of the attention off of the DNC is to rattle their cage and rattle it good.
You know what would rattle their cage? If he fired the shot and got out every single time.
Yep.
Right? If he goes up today and goes, I'm the one weaponized, I'm going to weaponize the DOJ against a political opponent, laughable. I'm going to weaponize the FBI to have them what? Raid Mar-a-Lago? Like, I would go in there and throw those out, but I'd also talk about, well, let's talk about the economy. I don't have time. They can hate me all they want. They hate me because this is where the economy will be. I want to bring back prosperity and peace to America. They hate me because I didn't have any wars going on.
So, and Tug, I don't expect you to have seen this movie, but if you've ever seen, because again, it's movies, but I like to compare it because immediately people have a vision of things. If you've ever seen 8 Mile,
all
right, with Eminem.
Except Eminem when he lived in the trailer park.
Right.
Yeah.
And
when he lost his health. In
yes,
the
all that. Yes.
So the final rap battle scene is him basically crapping on himself so that you don't have anything to say about him.
Oh, good.
He's like, now tell me about what you're going to say about me.
Yeah.
I love the fact that Donald Trump can get out there and say, here's my vision for America. And by the way, this is what they're going to say about me tonight. And you belittle it. You make fun of it. So that by the time that they're doing it, it takes any of the energy right out of it. There's no there. You didn't win.
It would be so smart if his social media team takes all of those things and act, because y'all said
Make a bingo card.
Absolutely.
That'd be hilarious.
Do you know how freaking funny that would be and how much attention that would get on social media? Sometimes it doesn't take this vision, this, oh my gosh, we have to wade through, we have to find the exact right message. No, you have to make fun of the things that are funny.
I think so, yeah.
We got to get Piggott back on the line and be like, dude, what about a bingo card for the next 3 nights where it's just, it's like, and you go through all of it. January 6th.
There it is.
Felon. And you just go through all of them and you're like okay, all right.
Waiting on the edge of your seat to write it down.
Like, bingo, I got it.
Yeah, I would go out there and be like, do you guys know that the government weaponized against me and I'm a 34-time convicted criminal? Have they told you that yet?
Here's my bingo card.
Yeah.
We all have one. Let's mark that one off.
Did they tell you about H.R. 2 or did they tell you about the ridiculous border bill they tried to pass off as the most comprehensive border bill package in the country's history?
Did they take credit for my insulin plan?
Right.
They are like,
or my no tax on tips.
It's like, we got it done. It's like, how many of these do you want to play the game? Again, you're doing the Eminem 8 Mile thing. I'm telling you this stuff ahead of time so that by the time you hear it, you just go, what a joke.
Did you guys hear the border is closed? They've got it secure. It's the most secure border. In fact, did you guys know that more people came across while I was president? Laughable.
Did you know that I said there were fine people on both sides?
Knowing that they took me out of context, but it's so different. I mean,
they came out with torches.
That's right. Dude, it's unbelievable the things that are said and never, ever disputed. CNN ain't disputing it. CBS ain't disputing it. ABC ain't disputing it. So if you get your news from any of those outlets, and there's very few people listening right now that do, but I bet you have friends, I bet you have family that do, that get influenced and maybe don't even realize it. Because I feel like that's the way my Aunt Peg is. Although I know she has TDS, and I love her nonetheless. Doesn't matter. I love her. I know she's influenced so heavily by all these media outlets because she sees them on TV. She sees them on the web. I bet she signed up for their damn email.
Yeah. Absolutely.
She in her inbox every morning with the talking points as Lowe's would call it the download.
You know that they are going to change the name to Kamala-nomics.
Yeah.
Even though it's Bidenomics and she's attached to that. I think it's important for him not to go on the name calling, not to go off tangent. I would really love to see him rattle the cage by just throwing out a rebuttal to all their lies, because that's what it was yesterday, lies and delusion.
And we'll continue today. We'll have it all for you tomorrow. We've got the bonus hour coming up on the Morning Extra, 8 o'clock hour, brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier expert, 770-GET-HEAT, Been serving Atlanta since, the 40s, like 77 years. The DNC pushed Joe out way past his bedtime last night, and it showed next on the Morning Extra.
time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.
Not exactly a hard-hitting political commentary, but, maybe it is. On the road in the Bortz bus last Friday, ran over something in the road. It looked like a spike. It's about 7 inches long and easily a half an inch in diameter right into a tire. I immediately had a warning in the cockpit, we'll call it, managed to get to a safe place, and here comes a tire technician to patch it up so that I could get to my destination, where, by the way, I'm buying a new tire. While he was working, I talked with him a bit. He's making some pretty good coin, over $60,000 a year, more than any college graduate with a gender studies degree or history or English or black studies will ever make. And he has no student loan debt. I remember a conversation I had with Bernie Marcus, one of the founders of Home Depot. How many, I asked him, rank and file employees working the stock, working the shelves, the aisles, the cash registers, retired as millionaires because they invested in Home Depot stock as an employee? The answer, about 3,500. None of them with student loan debt. You don't have to go to college to be a success in this country. In fact, in many ways, it can actually slow you down and be a detriment. That tire technician and the knowledgeable product experts at Home Depot are worth far more to our society and to themselves and their families than anybody with a gender studies degree. And Lord help us, how long is it going to be before people graduate with transgender studies on their diploma? God help them. Choose a trade, folks. Go after it. Live well. Neil Bortz, Xtra 106.3.
Diamonds Direct Atlanta is now open. The nation's fastest growing jewelry store now is a location right here in Buckhead. Shopping for the perfect ring to pop the question? Or maybe an everyday diamond tennis bracelet? The experts at Diamonds Direct are sure to have exactly what you're looking for, no matter the occasion. With the lowest direct importer pricing, you can expect the best selection of certified diamonds at unmatched prices, all within a luxury showroom atmosphere that makes you feel right at home. Come see what other jewelers are trying to replicate. Diamonds Direct's unbeatable after-the-sale guarantees and warranties are the best you can find. Free cleanings, sizing, polishing, accent diamond replacement for the lifetime of your purchase. If that's not enough, they also offer a 110% upgrade policy for you to use as often as you'd like on your diamond engagement ring, pendant, or studs. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, come see how Diamonds Direct is reinvigorating the jewelry industry at their brand new Buckhead showroom. When you want to have complete confidence in your jewelry buying experience, shop with the experts at Diamonds Direct. Now open on the corner of Maple Drive Northeast and Peachtree.
What's up, Atlanta? It's Ben Burnett, host of the Weekend Ben Burnett Show. Each and every weekend, right here on Xtra 106.3, we unpack all the week's events. We talk about all the issues with a local Atlanta-based flavor. You can catch me each and every weekend, Saturdays at 2 and Sundays at noon. If you ever miss an episode, you can go to the podcast park or wherever you download all of your content, and I'll be right there. Thanks for listening to the Ben Burnett Show, proudly brought to you by Butler Snow.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 9 a.m. hour is presented by Southern Exteriors. Quality and precision you can.
The president's primetime spotlight ended up late night TV. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
All this talk about how I'm angry at all those people who said I should step down. That's not true.
That turned into a "We Love You, Joe" chant for President Biden, whose send-off at the Democratic Convention in Chicago didn't start till after 11:30 Eastern, ended after midnight.
Convention officials are reportedly blaming the applause that interrupted speaker after speaker, forcing them to cut out elements of their program so they can get to the president quicker. During his remarks, the president mentioned his legislative accomplishments while encouraging voters to rally behind Vice President Kamala Harris.
Fox's Madeline Rivera. The president also took swipes at former President Trump.
Think of the message he sends around the world when he talks about America being a failing nation. He says we're losing. He's the loser. He's dead wrong.
And the president hugged Vice President Harris on stage, supporting her to be elected to replace him.
Let us fight for the ideals we hold dear.
Now, to counter the Democratic Convention, former President Trump's going to battleground states, Michigan today, after a trip to Pennsylvania, saying President Harris would destroy the country.
Our plan will massively cut taxes, unlock American energy.
The former president largely focused on economic policy in his roughly 50-minute speech. Pennsylvania saw a 1-2 punch from the GOP candidates, with Vance visiting Philadelphia.
Fox Business Network's Grady Trimble in New York referencing Trump running mate J.D. Vance. There have been pro-Palestinian protests in Chicago near the Democratic convention site. Some broke through a barricade and got arrested, demonstrating against U.S. support for Israel in Gaza, where Israeli forces have recovered the bodies of 6 more hostages.
We haven't been told how or when they died, but all were taken during the massacre by Hamas on October 7th.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Egypt trying to broker a Gaza ceasefire. America's listening to Fox News.
Well, summer's here and the weather is beautiful. Everyone has a favorite outdoor activity: golf, bike riding, bird watching, long walks. Ask 100 people, you'll get 100 answers. But if everyday aches and pains are keeping you on the sidelines, I have one answer: Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. Wherever you're hurting, back, neck, joints, or muscles, in 3 weeks or less, you'll start to feel the difference all day, every day. So whatever you like to do, swimming, pickleball, hanging out in the garden, Relief Factor can help you feel good again and let you enjoy all your favorite outdoor activities all summer long. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor.
Finally, there is conservative talk in Atlanta, Georgia.
Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra. Get the app so you can listen live and on demand to great conservative discussions throughout the day. When we're done at 10, we'll pick back up with the Glenn Beck program. That is 10 until noon. Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, the biggest show in all of conservative media, noon until 3, and our local afternoon show with our own Yosemite Sam. We call him the Kimmer. The Kimmer Show with Pete and Flounder from 3 until 6.
What do you think it would cost for Kimmer to shoot himself in the leg?
Oh, wow.
Is there a point where he would just say, yeah, it's worth it?
I mean, it would have to be in the tens of millions, don't you think? I mean, it'd have to be millions. No. What, to shoot himself in the leg?
No, I don't buy that for a second.
What? I mean, would you shoot yourself in the leg? What would it take, Rhino, for you to shoot yourself in the leg?
Again, because I expect to get like another 50, 60 years out of this leg.
Right.
That's not Kimmer.
Right.
Kimmer's like,
that's why it's got to be that much more.
He might be like,
more.
Hey,
I'm not going to need it.
Yeah, he's like, listen, if Kimmer is working on it, if he's working on a peg, he'll be fine.
I don't think he will, man. I got to tell you, I think
Plus, you get that kind of like, he's a war veteran if he's got a leg. You don't have to say
Tim
it.
Walz,
That's right. What do you think, Joe?
Where in the leg is it vital? There's a lot of questions here. What is my outcome? Am I shooting myself in the leg that can be easily healed?
You don't know.
I'm doing it for a few grand, man.
Yeah, like if you're just grazing the leg.
I'm starting the number at 100,000.
A little bit of catch a little bit, catching a little bit of the calf.
To shoot yourself for $100,000.
Catching a little bit of that calf.
Like the backside of my calf?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Flesh wound, something that's going to take a few months to get over.
What happens if they accidentally miss and it makes it worse?
Well, no, he's got to do it to himself.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's
what
his
happens
fault.
If he misses and it gets worse? That's why it's got to be worse.
Shaky.
It's exactly right.
I can't keep it steady.
I mean, he and Joe Biden the same age. Come on.
Kimmer's better shot than that.
Help me, Flounder. I can't hold it steady.
Telling you, man, it'd have to be $10 million. There's no
10 million?
way to shoot
No, I think you're way above market value to give yourself a glancing shot in the leg.
It's your scenario. I mean,
if you're coming up with $1 million for me, yeah, I'm glancing my leg.
Yeah, Kimmer, 3 to 6, everybody.
That's right. He'll have a peg leg this afternoon looking for $1 million payout from DBC here at Dickey Broadcasting. He'll be like, look, they told me the morning show to do it.
Yeah.
It's their fault now, and it's on you.
I'm not saying do it.
This is a workplace.
But if you can make some money out of it, Kimmer, go for it.
This is a workplace accident. Was that
Of course, if I were him, I'd turn on Pete and shoot him and then take the money.
Oh, man, don't do that to Pete.
It's a lover's quarrel.
Yes, yeah. I'd shoot myself in both feet if I could move out of my parents.
Good Lord.
Wow, that's a lot.
Man, that is desperate, buddy.
I mean, you can move out of your parents.
No.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I'm used to it.
The Liz Wheeler thing about like what makes you unattractive to women, You only have one of like the top 5.
I know, and it sucks.
Wait, is it what makes you attractive? I thought it's what made you unattractive.
Unattractive.
Give the list real quick.
All right, so she ended up posting this, and this was I
want to hear from women, too. Do they agree with this?
Unattractiveness score. It said the least attractive hobbies
Mm-hmm.
for men according to women. This is where
ladies,
we're
just throwing this out.
We're done. So bird watching is like the smallest one. So if you're a bird watcher, we got some problems there.
No.
Comic book collecting.
No.
Okay. I don't anymore.
Yeah, but no,
you got
but
a history.
No, because you're an adult now. You did that as a young man. So
Yes.
that doesn't count.
I read them as a kid. I never collected them.
This one makes a lot of sense to me. Taxidermy.
I love taxidermy.
Yeah, of course you love
Jeffrey
it. But I'm
Dahmer.
just saying, if you're into it, some women aren't into that sort of thing. Building model trains.
Okay, I do that. I do that.
I don't, but it's cool.
I've never heard you say that before.
I haven't done it in a while because I haven't really had a place to do it. But I have so many trains that are sitting, and Liam and I do it every year for Christmas.
Oh, got it. Okay,
we build the model for that.
See, but I think
collect
women
the trains.
I think women would dig that.
Yeah, I think so.
Especially for Christmas time. It's so
I
cute.
was going to say, don't lose girlfriend Aaron.
No,
especially
definitely
around
don't
Christmas
do that.
time.
Do not do that, dude. If you ever
that's
do
why
that,
they're in storage right now.
I'm kicking your ass if you do that.
All right, so your top 5 are in order in terms of least to biggest. Gambling, online trolling.
I don't do it.
Magic tricks.
I don't know.
Collecting figurines.
I don't do it.
And playing video games.
Okay.
I don't know anything on that list.
I don't do the video games. I do have collectible figurines of Todd McFarlane's Sports Action Heroes.
But from when you were a kid.
No.
Number 2.
If you say Todd McFarlane, all is forgiven.
I mean, let's face it.
No, it's not.
There are people that do the bobblehead thing. And we don't look at it as figurines, but
it is. I don't
I have some of those too.
I don't have. I mean,
yeah, there's a lot of online trolling.
I must be the most attractive man on earth. I don't do any of those
There's
things. The
some
only
others
thing
on
I'm
that
close
list.
enough to is taxidermy. Like I'd put a deer head on the wall.
I only play video games like every few days. It's not like it's a hobby, but it's not like a constant.
Oh, right now, Texas Wesleyan is going for the national championship.
There you go. Well, you're already married. You're fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like this is a package deal.
Yeah, right.
She just knows if I'm going to get the kids everywhere and do the things I need to do, I got to have the gaming on the other end.
There you go. So now you know what ladies are looking for. Joey, you need to pay attention to this. What ladies are looking for.
Apparently, I'm that. I don't do any of those.
Oh, so, dude, you're in there. So if you ever get out of your parents' basement, dude, watch out, world.
You got to clean up.
Watch out, world. Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. Last night, VP Harris, I thought the place looked like a morgue for the most of the evening. And then it did start to liven up toward, later in the evening, especially when VP Harris came out on stage. And I think it was a little bit unexpected. Probably not. But it did liven up the crowd a little bit. But as my wife and I were watching some of it early on in the evening, I asked her, I was like, do you remember the RNC being this, low-key, this lack of energy that I'm seeing in the room? And she couldn't remember. She was like, I to be honest, I don't remember. And I want to say maybe it was because Trump was coming off of getting shot. That's why it was fiery from the minute it got started all the way to the end. It was not that way in the beginning of the DNC, but it did improve as the night went along. I'll tell you, though, listening to Joe Biden was exactly what we expected. It was a rehash of every speech that he's ever given. It was a rehash of every nonsensical thing that he's ever said. I like the one where he says, Kamala, Biden 2 here, Joe, Kamala will be respected.
But she'll be a president our children can look up to. She'll be a president respected by world leaders because she already is. She'll be a president we can all be proud of. And she will be an historic president who puts her stamp on America's future.
I mean, blown away by that. She'll be respected by world leaders. You're telling me that President Xi from China is going to meet with Kamala Harris and be intimidated because fear is the only thing he respects. Strength is the only thing that he respects. Same with Kim Jong-un. Same with Vladimir Putin. Same with the Hamas terrorists. They respect power. She has none.
No, I think if she were to walk in that meeting and have a man in a dog mask and a man dressed as a woman side by side with her and said, these are my admiral and this, Yeah, I don't think she has any respect from any leaders. None of the leaders. In fact, Netanyahu, that's a leader that you need to have a conversation with. And he didn't want to have a conversation with her. He wanted to have a conversation with Joe Biden. He wanted to have a conversation with Donald Trump. In fact, went to Mar-a-Lago in order to have that conversation. Now, of course, she forced her way into this because she knew at that point she had to be present for a meeting to make it look like world leaders respected her.
So much of what we heard last night was make-a-believe. It was, let's reimagine the world according to what we said we were going to do. Not the results. Here's where our intentions were, and our intentions, we all took care of them. So when he starts to talk about Kamala Harris is respected around the world and she's going to be this great leader, all right, we're still in make-a-believe land. Because as of, 6 weeks ago, she was the biggest dunce in the history of vice presidents in modern history.
And they were trying to figure out a way to force her off the ticket if Joe couldn't run. Who and how do we get rid of her?
And what crazy misery must it be that when we talked about it when it happened, when Joe Biden decided to issue his letter saying he wasn't going to seek re-election and then used a tweet to say he's endorsing Kamala Harris, in my mind it was because she's going to lose. Now, she consolidated power faster than the Obamas could. And so what is happening now? Remember, all last night was kumbaya, everything's great. Joe Biden ain't going to be there for that speech. The Obamas aren't going to be there for that speech. They're not going to be there for Thursday because they look at it as she's going to lose and we don't want to be part of it.
We want to be anchored down. We don't want to be on the sinking ship. We don't want to be on the Titanic.
Well, I mean, she just, what is it that she always says? Mm-hmm. She doesn't want to be
burdened by what has been.
Right. They don't want to be burdened by what has been.
Well, they're about to be. They're about to be because they've got.
But does that not say everything you need to know that they're not going to be there for Thursday night when she delivers a speech as the great leader of the party?
I wonder if the people, as the great leader of the party, and the people that will, as Joe Biden says, respect her, the world leaders that will respect her, I wonder if it's because of the bathroom situation there at the DNC. You know, that they have men's bathrooms, and then they have available for anybody to use, non-gendered bathrooms. Is that what you think will get the most attention from those foreign leaders? Be like, yeah, I respect this woman. Did you see what she did at her coronation, her party convention? She made sure that they had weird non-gender specific bathrooms. Do you think that's what's going to be the compelling nail in the coffin for those leaders that have to deal with her and her strength?
Yeah, because I think what they saw was divisive speech, and what they will see on Thursday night is more divisive speech. They didn't really see anything that said, wow, America's back, or America's strong, or America's powerful. No leader that watched, if they watched, the DNC saw anything except for really just fear and the creation of fear of Putin, the creation of fear of other things going on. The fact that Joe Biden actually stood up there and said, Ukraine's still fighting 3 years later. So what you're saying is that you've got a forever war going, and you know that you've signed it for 10 years to keep this war going. You're warmongers. And I think that a lot of people realize that the West continues to do that, and there are coups going on all over the world. They even did an own coup on the president and then told him, yeah, you speak and then you can get out of here and go on vacation.
This is about their base, and I get that's what they were doing last night, and they're going to be speaking to their single cat ladies on a regular basis. All right? And just as you saw what happened with the RNC over in Milwaukee. But this is really about the middle. And when I bring up the middle, the independents, the people that are making their decisions based on what has happened in recent history, not only is it economically, but think about the rhetoric that was being thrown out last night, where you had a former American president who was shot in the head, all right, less than 2 months ago. And you have Raphael Warnock, senator from Georgia, calling him a clear and present danger.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, they lasted what?
30
4
seconds.
days?
Not even, dude.
3 days?
It was the next day.
Remember, they were talking about, we got to calm down our rhetoric.
The next day, they did it.
And the only reason they were calming down their rhetoric with their base is because they went, man, this makes us look bad. We look like crazy people. Well, guess what? You still look like crazy people when you're talking about this.
Well, not only that, they continue to talk about, we got to fight. Fight. They throw out the word fight, where if Donald Trump were to say fight, they take it in a different context.
Just
and make
like they did after he was shot. Remember he said fight, and he was talking about the violence. He was talking about be violent, go after these people. It's just absurdity all around. how anybody could have watched last night and taken away anything from it.
You got to put a bullseye on him.
Yeah, right, exactly. And then Joe Biden says that the very next day.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, this is but this is exactly what they continue to do. And it's a distraction from what you're actually looking at. If they were to give you their policies, you'd never vote for them. That's why they can't do that. They have to attack Donald Trump. The entire thought of him getting shot has been glossed over to where it's not even covered. It's not even talked about. Now, I think the DNC is smart to not even bring it up. I wouldn't bring it up if I were them.
No.
But at the same time, I wouldn't pretend that there aren't 100,000 people outside that destroyed Philadelphia a few weeks ago. And now, not all of those, by the way, but that same group is now there, and they already tore down fences. They brought sledgehammers. They brought tools.
Yeah, we heard that in the Fox News update.
Yeah, they brought goggles, masks, and things.
To peaceful protests.
To a peaceful protest, okay? These are the same people who have destroyed this country over and over and over again. So the more they talk about burning their cities or they want to play the Jan 6 game, let's not forget about Portland. Let's not forget about what happened in Tim Walz's state. Let's not forget about how they've burned down this country and are going to burn down Chicago. I don't get. They were good yesterday. It's not going to last. There's no way it does.
Rhino, just to piggyback on that for just a second, the fact that Joe Biden, he said the protesters have a point, Los. What point do they have? I saw an interview with one of those pro-Hamas protesters who was talking to, I think I saw it on X, it was Mike Tobin from Fox News Channel, and he told Mike Tobin that the October 7th attack was on the up and up, and he supported it. He was a pro-Hamas protester.
They're still playing both sides of this argument. They're still playing both sides of this game where even you had a couple people that were talking about when it came to Kamala Harris, she's going to entertain the idea of limiting the weapons that go to Israel, even though in the Democrat platform there is no thing in there about embargo of weapons to Israel. So much of this now comes down to this. And I ask you guys this question, and I don't know the answer, but so what's the big headliner tonight? Because we all stayed up to watch Joe Biden out of curiosity. We know we get Kamala on Thursday. So am I just going to be dealing with crazy rhetoric today and Wednesday where I'm going to be sitting there through it? I'll be watching the Braves game, listening to this going, oh, it's another crazy person. Okay, it's another person who's
just like last night, dude.
Yeah.
It was like jets at Hartsfield International Airport. Just
it was
lined up.
one after the next. I joined it late. We had volleyball last night. I didn't get in the house until about 9:15.
Count yourself lucky.
Started with Hillary, and you guys had it nailed when you were like, this is just this droning of craziness.
I can't with. I don't know that I can do this.
But is there something I can look forward to tonight?
Not one thing.
I'm trying to figure out.
Tonight. Give me the person where I go, all right, I'm in.
Barack and Michelle Obama will speak on day 2.
Okay. I'm so curious. Because
Wednesday night you get Jeff Duncan.
Of course you do. Of course you get Jeff Duncan.
I'd rather see Barack Obama.
But imagine that.
I'm with you.
You have a scenario where
lunatic Jeff Duncan.
And what has gone on? She is so unpopular with the top of that party that you have Joe Biden already out the door. Flew out of town last night. And Barack and Michelle will go ahead and get in their quick thing, and then they're going to get out of town too. Now, I get it. It's not like, George Bush is hanging out to see what Donald Trump is going to say, but, okay, that's understood. That's like the Bush family. It's oil and water. These people pretend to be all in on Kamala, and they ain't even there.
And they're not. I got to tell you, I believe that Joe likes Kamala more than he likes the rest of them. I do believe that.
Oh, I think he likes his legacy and is,
and it's in her hands.
What he wants more than anything is to go, I told you I would have won when she loses.
When she loses, yeah. So maybe that's it. But I don't know, man. I just felt like there's a bit. I don't think he hates Kamala as much as he hates the rest of them. Like, I think he hates Barack and Michelle.
I firmly believe
that.
Yeah.
Despises Nancy Pelosi. There's no doubt in my mind about those.
That was his buddy for the longest time. That was his ally.
Yeah, for sure.
She's got the House. I got the Senate. We're in this together.
The revolution never ends, as Lo says. And they ain't never together. When we come back on the Morning Extra, 9 o'clock hour brought to you by Southern Exteriors. Find them on the web at southernexteriors.co or call them 877-9-SOUTHERN. Joe Biden's impeachment will not happen. Not because it isn't deserved. Talk about it next. On Extra 106.3, we'll knock out the headlines next, too.
From the latest breaking news to the conservative voices you know and trust, your best new follow on social media is Extra 106.3. We're at XTRA 106.3 on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, and LinkedIn, and pretty much any social media you scroll through every day. And we drop exclusive giveaways, new daily content, and the latest breaking news from Georgia and across this great nation. Interact with your favorite Extra personalities. Get the latest on our live events and so much more. Follow at Extra 106.3 across all your social media and keep up with Atlanta's only conservative voice.
Intelligent technology that's more intuitive. Electrified power wrapped in sporty elegance. Meet the 2024 Mercedes-Benz C300 sedan. The leader of the pack with a sensual interior, the C300 sedan is a driver's delight and paradise for passengers. Experience the 2024 C300 sedan today. Lease one for just $539 per month for 36 months with $48.33 due at signing, exclusively from RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this vehicle and many other models. And visit today to see how to qualify. Special lease rate available only to qualified customers exclusively from Mercedes-Benz Financial Service through RBM of Atlanta, Sandy Springs through September 3rd, 2024. Excludes tax, tag, title, and Georgia Lemon Law fees. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this and other exciting offers. Visit rbmofatlanta.com or call us at 770-390-0700 for details.
Retail Management Services Corporation seeks lead software engineer in Atlanta, Georgia to design, test, and develop software. Requires a bachelor's degree in computer science or related field of study, plus 5 years experience in software development or engineering. Alternatively, the employer will accept a master's degree or foreign equivalent in computer science or related field of study, plus 2 years experience in software development or engineering. Hybrid remote position. To apply, submit resume to bzupa@roomstogo.com.
This is Dan Watkins with All Four Seasons. We've always been Atlanta's best at installing and servicing garage and entry doors, but you would be surprised at how many windows we've installed as well. So we're proud to announce a new division, All Four Seasons Windows. We now have the ability to make sure every opening in your house is safe, energy efficient, and looks darn good. So give us a call today to schedule your free sales consultation. Find out how you can decrease your energy bills and increase the beauty and value of your home with All Four Seasons garage, entry doors, and windows.
At Nelson Elder Care Law, we understand that family's everything. That's why we prioritize your family's future with personalized asset protection solutions. Call us today to schedule your legacy planning meeting and discover how our team can tailor our services to meet your family's unique needs, ensuring a secure and worry-free future. NelsonElderCareLaw.com.
Hey, it's Tug from my friends, the Frost family of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about their family's company all the time here on Extra 106.3. First Liberty has helped hundreds of small businesses grow by saying yes when the big banks say no. On Wall Street, opportunities to earn big returns are everywhere. But for Main Street investors, those opportunities are hard to find. Until now. Our First Liberty notes are now open to qualified Main Street investors, paying interest rates of 8 to 13% while helping fuel the growth of small businesses right here in Georgia. With a few basic qualifications and with as little as $25,000, qualified Main Street investors just like you can earn an 8 to 13% interest rate. If this is you, they'd love to hear from you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and consider joining the First Liberty family today. That's FirstLibertyGA.com. FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
What's up, Atlanta? It's Ben Burnett, host of the Weekend Ben Burnett Show. Each and every weekend, right here on Extra 106.3, we unpack all the week's events. We talk about all the issues with a local Atlanta-based flavor. You can catch me each and every weekend, Saturdays at 2 and Sundays at noon. If you ever miss an episode, you can go to the podcast park or wherever you download all of your content, and I'll be right there. Thanks for listening to the Ben Burnett Show, proudly brought to you by Butler Snow.
Millions
of guys suffer from erectile dysfunction. That's 1 in 4 men. And I can tell you, I'm one of them.
If you or someone you know suffer from ED, Peyronie's disease, or PE, here's 38-year emergency room doctor and founder of Total Body Therapy of Georgia, Dr. Eric Deal.
Patients who enter my office are often frustrated, hopeless, depressed, and embarrassed. I understand the problem, and I'm going to help you fix it. There are lots of competitors that don't have the credentials that I have. When you go to other clinics, you're not going to see a board-certified physician with the experience that I have. When you come to our clinic, you're going to see me. There's just not one therapy that can solve these complex issues. I'll do a complete history and physical prior to any treatment that we use. Take it from me, Dr. Deal. When it's not hard, it's really hard.
Call Dr. Deal for your free one-on-one evaluation and resolve your ED, Peyronie's, or PE issues. Total Body Therapy of Georgia, 404-777-1911, 404-777-1911, online at stopmyed.com.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
All right, here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Tuesday, August 20th. The Georgia State Election Board voted 3-2 to require a rule that each county board would meet on the Friday after the election to compile vote totals by precinct and ballot type. The rule also allows election boards to examine all election-related documents for discrepancies and conduct investigations until issues are resolved before certifying the results. Board member Janice Johnson said the rule is needed to ensure accurate vote counts, and no lawsuits have been filed to challenge any new rules. Atlanta police have arrested 5 individuals after they sped off from a music video shoot where concerned citizens had called about young males brandishing weapons in the neighborhood. The 5 suspects who drove away were stopped by police, who found all 5 carrying illegal guns. The driver, 20-year-old Jaquarvis White, admitted he did not have a valid driver's license. All 5 individuals were arrested and charged with unlawful firearm possession. The officers also seized $10,000 in cash and several rounds of ammunition. The suspects were transported to Fulton County Jail. And the Atlanta Braves look to gain some ground on the first-place Philadelphia Phillies. The two teams will open up a 3-game set at Truist Park beginning tonight. The Braves, who have 7 games left with the Phillies, are 7 games back of the first-place Phillies in the NL East. Reynaldo Lopez will make his return to the mound tonight in a 7:20 start. Who will be missing? One of our favorites, Austin Riley, out 6 to 8 weeks. You can catch all the action on our sister station, 680 The Fan.
Tug, Rhino, and Lowe's on the Morning Extra until 10. The 9 o'clock hour is brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution in the Southeast. They've been serving for decades. 200,000 jobs under their belt. So they are experts in the field. SouthernExteriors.co is their number, is their website, and their number is 8779 Southern, 8779 Southern. So I think we all knew that the impeachment of Joe Biden was never going to happen. It was never going to happen. It wouldn't have gotten passed. It wouldn't have gotten through. It would have died in the Senate. We all know that. But the fact that the information, the investigation that happened is so valuable, Rhino. The things that we now know that the Biden crime family were a part of because of this is just as valuable, if not more, than the actual impeachment process.
Yeah, I think the impeachment process was important because I think it did open up and we got a lot of information about what happened with Ukraine. We talked about it a bunch, and I know people are talking about it all day today. $27 million. Joe Biden was lying. He continues to lie. He knows he benefited financially. So did the entire family. And quite frankly, part of the deal I'm sure that Nancy Pelosi came to him with was part of, hey, we're going to make sure this goes away. We'll talk to our friends on the other side of the aisle and see what they can do. I don't think they'll ever renew the impeachment into Biden, but I think it's very important to release all of the information that you do have to show the corruption of the Democrats. Because if you don't think Menendez and a lot of these other Democrats that are getting popped for the same kind of corruption aren't doing the same thing he was, well, then I think you're mistaken.
Well, you do it in order to set the example, because if you don't do it, well, then you're just encouraging this. And so if you're telling me that you're able to point out that an American president, while he was the vice president, and to a certain extent was still going on with his son now, was using the office in order to enrich themselves, it's not just political anymore. It has to be an example. You've got to make it an example so no one else considers doing it. I mean, if we're just going to depend on integrity, like, for instance, Donald Trump and his
doesn't
family
exist in D.C. to begin with.
Right.
But Donald Trump and his family, we're talking about billions. They ain't going anywhere crazy over $500,000 paintings.
And they created that.
Right. They're not sitting back going, well, if I just go ahead and get a little bit of influence, maybe I can make myself $500,000 on a painting. That's not what they're doing. That's peanuts.
No, of course. But the thing is, no one is going to be held accountable. Let's not pretend that anybody's going to be held accountable for anything. I know we should set the example. I think everybody listening right now probably agrees we should set the example, but tell me something that we've set the example on. We've not set the example on anything. And I mean either side. I mean, people don't get punished for anything they do. We talked about it earlier. People coming across the border illegally. As wrong as it is, they should be sent back. We don't have the stomach for it. I don't know that we have the stomach for doing anything when it comes to correcting people anymore.
Yeah, I think setting the example when Carlos says that is what Mike Johnson said. You know, I don't like Mike Johnson, but what he said is read the impeachment report. Read it for yourselves. Understand why we came to the conclusion and why we think this corruption is bad. Because again, the left right now is running on joy. That's it. That's all they have is, oh, look how joyful it is. We filled this place with a bunch of paid people. So look how joyful it is. And then what do? They attack capitalism at every avenue. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, they're guys, they're not like you working people. No, they created businesses. They built businesses. They created fortune and they're wealthy now. Why? Because they created jobs. Same thing with Elon Musk. Why is he being attacked? Why? Because he's creating jobs. He's changing the future. He's ahead of the energy because he's figuring out a way to do clean energy, but he's just not doing it with unions. So they hate him for that. But yet he still creates jobs, good paying jobs throughout. They are fighting capitalism. And you know what? They're still benefiting. How does he have $27 million in his pocket? He was paid.
Yeah, that's
he was paid to be a politician. So who are you more mad at? And I think it's real important that we get that out there. Capitalism, they earn this because of their merit in creating jobs. He stole this.
All that's correct, and it's not going to change a thing. How many people you think is going to read that impeachment, the paperwork?
Well, nobody on the left, you mean?
I mean, nobody anywhere.
Well, I would hope independents and people will read some of it or look into it, but I doubt it. You're right.
0%. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I understand. I even think people on our side will be like, all right, I know it exists. I know it's there. Now nothing's going to be done. They're never going to think of it again.
I referenced the tech billionaire that you brought up, how he spent 5 years not knowing that there are fine people on both sides, what that was really about. This guy's a millionaire. This guy should be plugged into this stuff. When people tell you, and this is why we love our audience, because y'all listen and y'all are plugged in and you pay attention.
Yep.
But the average person who does not consume anything such as, talk radio, news radio, they check in with politics on an average of 40 seconds per day. 40 seconds. So why do you think that so much of this stuff, this drive-by information, is so effective on them? You really think they're going to spend any time reading about what the Bidens were doing overseas?
Stalin said it better than anybody. You write the article, let me write the headline. Because that's the 40 seconds.
That's all the 40 seconds.
People actually look at.
I read it. No, that's what it is. Okay.
Rhino's going to read it. I know he will. As long as I've known him, he's read bills. I mean, bills that I wouldn't even. I just don't have the patience to
Rhino
read.
is the first person that I've ever.
He's like a damn unicorn
who said, hey, about that whole don't say gay bill, it ain't in here. It's like the first person screaming about it in the whole marketplace. Hey, don't say gay. He's like, I read it, it ain't in here.
That's the point. You're a unicorn. Right. Nobody else is doing this.
Yeah,
Nobody.
see, and I don't expect anybody to do what I do. What I do expect is that people are informed. So when we talk about the number one media source, the number one news source, it's Twitter. It is social media. When we know things, look, we don't know half the things that the Democrats are doing or saying. It's only because they come up in our timeline. The Democrats come up in my timeline. I follow them. I know a lot of people do. I see the comments by conservatives on the other side that actually break down those things so that we do get it out there. Because you know what? When it is told, and I think that's why the black community has come over so much to the Trump, they're starting to read and go, hold on one second. Now I'm seeing this on Twitter all the time. Here's Kathy Hochul saying black people don't even understand what a computer is. Nobody covered that. Now, where did black people start making all those videos? Did you see how quick
On
it
X,
trended? It
on
starts
Twitter.
on X. So when you start putting out there that $27 million was put into his pocket, here's the proof. People are going to put that out on the social media. That's where you get the influence now. That's where you make people maybe question and start to read a little bit. You're right. CNN ain't covering it. MSNBC isn't. But social media does. And that's the new way of politics. Everything we see is in clips and quick little pieces in maybe in like a note, a community note. Here's the real one.
And $27 million is a lowball estimate. I don't care what.
Yeah, I don't believe that either. That's what I thought. That's funny.
Chance it's just
I was like, it's
27 million.
50.
You sold out your entire country to the Chinese, to the people the Ukrainians in Burisma, and all these. $27 million is a drop in the hat compared to what they actually came away with. I'm sure that's just what they could prove, like physically with bank records.
Well, by the time that they went through the 21 shell companies and said, here's how money was moving around, remember, keep in mind, you did have the Ukrainian people that were in on it who basically said, this is so complicated, it's going to take 10 years for people to figure out. And sure enough,
it did.
It was 2016. It took till 2023, 2024 to go, oh, wait, it turns out the Bidens made a lot of money over here in Ukraine when he was vice president.
You know, and Donald Trump, man, this guy sold out the country for $1 when he could have gotten $27 million. What a dumb businessman. How does he even run a business? What an idiot that guy can be.
That's a great point.
But that's how ridiculous this is. That's how ridiculous the rhetoric from the left is and continues to be. We should be talking about how do you sell influence for 27? How do you lie to the American people over and over and over again, your own party over and over and over again? You never took money. You never did business with them. You never talked on the phone. You never did this. And yet every time they produce something, it was proven that you were a liar. And you know what? CNN and some of them covered a little bit of it. So there is stuff that will leak out.
Once in a while. I want you to ponder this.
Just don't impeach. Like, don't go through a whole show trial again.
I want you to ponder this. We have an American president, a vice president, and a president whose son is a crackhead, admittedly. He's an addict, who went ahead and sold out the country, and yet we did not reach a point of saying that's enough until we finally proved, yeah, he really does have like some sort of Alzheimer's of some sort of dementia. Like, he sold out the country. He's got a crackhead son. They found cocaine in the White House, and at no point did we say that's about enough.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They're not proceeding with the impeachment. I mean, in some point, it's like you have to do it for principle, right?
We don't have principles.
Well, I guess you're right. Yeah, you know what? This
That's
DC,
my
nobody
point.
in DC has principles.
That's my point. We had everything lined up and said, well, if he can win an election, we're all right.
Yeah. I'm so put off by it all.
I like when I make a small point that I'm leading you to water, and then you jump in. You're like, it's wet in here.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
I know.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, good print. Oh, dang it.
We are talking about DC, aren't we?
They actually took all of these things that we have known about, that we have the paper trail on, and said, those are all fine until you can't win an election, and clearly you have dementia that we've been lying about for 4 years.
I think I get sideways sometimes because I spend time with principled people, and I know that they do things because it's the right thing, not because it's the easy thing. They do things because it's the right thing, not because it's what they would like to do. If they make a mistake, they own up to it. They set that example for their children. They do that in the workplace. So I have this false belief that happens everywhere, and sometimes I have to be shaken. I have to be shaken and say, hey, wake up. You're talking about Washington, D.C. Principles do not exist. Morning Extra and Extra 106.3. When we come back, we'll wrap up the show before the Glenn Beck program starts at 10. Back when TV had some sort of values. Unlike these days. Next on Extra 106.3. The Kimmer Show is only on Extra 106.3 every weekday afternoon on your drive home.
The Virginia governor, Youngkin, I believe.
Yeah, Youngkin.
Has just basically mandated paper ballots. It's your turn, Brian Kemp.
That's right.
Why this love affair with Dominion voting machines? I don't understand it. Why the love affair that they're forcing us to use these things that we don't trust?
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
School may be back in, but the Braves have tons of giveaways and huge matchups this month, like when the Philadelphia Phillies and Washington Nationals come to Truist Park, August 20th through the 25th. The Phillies series begins with a Chick-fil-A cow bobblehead giveaway on the 20th, followed by the Ozzie Albies and his dog Poochie bobblehead giveaway on the 21st, presented by Bear Ringer Ingelheim.
Olsen uncorks one to deep right center field, flying to the wall and kiss it goodbye. Home run by Matt Olsen into the Braves bullpen.
And then get ready for Alumni Weekend, presented by your local Ford dealer, August 23rd through the 25th. The weekend includes the Braves Legends Parade through the Battery and the Alumni Roll Call on the field on Friday, followed by autograph sessions with your favorite former Braves and the always competitive Home Run Derby competition on Saturday. Don't miss the fun this August. Find all the details and get your tickets at Braves.com/promos. Atlanta Braves Baseball. We are Braves Country.
When you buy a Subaru from Subaru of Gwinnett, you're buying more than a vehicle. You're buying safety for your family and something that will last a long, long time. In other words, you're buying trust. For a limited time, you can celebrate amazing offers on the all-new Forester, Crosstrek, or Outback during the Subaru A Lot to Love event now through September 3rd. Plus, you can enjoy special financing on select new 2024 Outback models. And you'll love more than just your new Subaru. You'll love the dedicated staff at Subaru of Gwinnett with some of the best service specialists in the area and a team you know you can trust. You'll ride with peace of mind knowing that Subaru of Gwinnett has your back. During the Subaru A Lot to Love event, you'll find that Subaru model you've always dreamed about at a price that makes that dream come true. But you'll need to get in by September 3rd to take advantage. We'll make it easy. Just start with a test drive. And before you know it, you'll be in the Subaru you love. Start your shopping online at SubaruofGwinnett.com. Then stop by on Satellite Boulevard in Duluth. SubaruofGwinnett.com.
I enjoy a good night's sleep, and I like to breathe while I'm sleeping. My wife appreciates that, too. That's why I wear a CPAP. You want the right machine. You want expert advice. You want all the supplies that go with it. You get it all at CPAPs, etc. in Alpharetta. Machines, masks, tubing, filters, cleaning supplies, all of it, and they ship nationwide. Walk-ins, by the way, are welcome. CPAPs, etc. Alpharetta, CPAPSETC.com.
Hey fans, summer is here and you know what that means. Exterior painting season. At Atlanta Painting Company, this summer, save 10% off of all exterior projects and get a free color consultation. We understand how valuable your home is, so protect your investment with our industry-leading warranty and unmatched customer service. Don't just take our word for it. We have over 900 Google reviews telling you why we're the painters you can trust. Ready to get started? Visit us online at atlantapaintingcompany.com to schedule your free home consultation. The Atlanta Painting Company, the painters you can trust.
Looking for bold discussions on vital issues? Tune in to The Janelle King Show every Saturday at 3 p.m. with an encore episode every Sunday at 9 a.m. right here on Extra 106.3, where we dive into kitchen table topics that are essential for a strong republic. Don't miss an episode, but if you do, it's all good because we have new podcasts that drop every Tuesday on the Podcast Park or wherever you get your podcasts. Don't miss out on these thought-provoking conversations.
Well, summer's here and the weather is beautiful. Everyone has a favorite outdoor activity: golf, bike riding, bird watching, long walks. Ask 100 people, you'll get 100 answers. But if everyday aches and pains are keeping you on the sidelines, I have one answer: Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. Wherever you're hurting, back, neck, joints, or muscles, in 3 weeks or less, you'll start to feel the difference all day, every day. So whatever you like to do, swimming, pickleball, hanging out in the garden, Relief Factor can help you feel good again and let you enjoy all your favorite outdoor activities all summer long. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor.
The Morning Extra. Glenn Beck, Clay and Buck, The Kimmer Show, Jesse Kelly, Jimmy Fallon, and Guy Benson. The biggest lineup of conservative voices in the South are on Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra 106.3 app.
Tug, Rhino, and Los on The Morning Extra. If you grew up watching TBS, probably the Braves on TBS, leading up to it was the Andy Griffith Show. Andy Griffith was a TV show that had values, and it taught a message. It was just like sometimes at the end of cartoons like G.I. Joe, they always had the good message, you know what I mean? It was, Yo Joe, the more you know, Yo Joe kind of thing.
Well, it always finished off with G.I. Joe.
That's right, exactly.
After it told you not to take ice cream from people in weird vans.
Yeah, exactly. Or don't steal or whatever. They always gave you a positive message. But now that Tim Walz has been chosen as the nominee for VP, this is a man who ran Minnesota, and Minnesota was one of the few states in the country that passed legislation to become a sanctuary state for trans people. And what that means is if parents aren't supportive of their child's preferred gender, they could lose custody of their kids. Not quite a moderate position. I want you to listen to Andy Griffith talking about kids making decisions way back on the Andy Griffith Show.
Who's to say that the boy would be happier your way or mine? Why not let him decide?
No, I'm afraid it don't work that way. You can't let a young'un decide for himself. He'll grab at the first flashy thing with shiny ribbons on it. Then when he finds out there's a hook in it, it's too late. The wrong ideas come packaged with so much glitter, it's hard to convince him that other things might be better in the long run. And all a parent can do is say, wait, trust me, and try to keep temptation away.
It had nothing to do with the trans world back then. But isn't it funny how a TV show from the 60s had messages that resonate so loud and true today, and you can't overlook them. It's so simple. It seems so simple, and yet in this world that we live in, this broken world that we live in, it seems convoluted, or it's at least painted that way.
I love that little throwback to Tugland. Like, I could just picture you guys all sitting back there in Dalton and having that conversation, because that's important, that this is the way kids were supposed to be raised and supposed to be raised. We were supposed to teach them right from wrong. We're supposed to tell them about telling the truth. And what we see now are just lies that come out of everybody's mouth. So bad that we lied to the American people about Joe Biden's health and really put us all in a lot of danger. And you know what? Kids need to understand that they need to be raised in the correct way. The problem is that some people think they are raising their children in the correct way. But I think it's pretty obvious when we talk about certain things, we need to really revisit. I watched another video of a guy reading a book in a school. You should have heard the words. And again, how does the school board, while listening to this man, yell at him and say, that's your first warning for reading this book out loud, and yet still allow it in our schools? That's the kind of craziness we're dealing with. This is what they're doing to our children, and they're saying, hey, if this is who you want to be, if this is what you want to be, that's okay. You know what? Not right now, it's not. Right now, you have a job. Go in, learn science, technology, math, and English, or whatever other languages that you may have, and then get out of school and become successful and be a part of this community.
I'll tell you, there's a family that was at this executive order signing in Minnesota, and they were transitioning their 6-year-old child. That was who was the face of this bill. And the family was there just all in support of transitioning a 6-year-old.
Do you know, I am not a violent person. I would definitely have a lot of words for them. But if there is one thing that I cannot stand, it's an attack on children. It's a merciless attack on children and an indoctrination of children to make a 6-year-old think that way. I don't care what you think. I don't care if they're, come off in any certain light. To sit there and say, I'm going to medically castrate this child makes me want to punch someone in the nose. Like that's how bad this is. Why are they attacking children this way? It makes no sense.
There was a time in this country where the choice of action used to be a lobotomy to change somebody mentally. And we actually thought, hey, if we drive this sharp object into the skull into the base of their brain, this is how it's going to alter them. It's going to change them. It's going to help them.
Did it work?
Put it this way. There's a whole lot more where you go, that's medieval. Like, it's looked at it the same way as using leeches to get rid of disease.
Right.
All right. Europe's already moved here. How long is it going to be before we go, hey, transitioning 6-year-olds is a terrible idea? Medically sterilizing them. We're using medication that we use on child molesters, on children.
Mm-hmm. We're usually about 6, 8, 10 years behind Europe. That's the scary part.
They're about 2 years ahead of us on this.
Yeah. Well, but that's what I'm saying.
Sweden was like, whoa,
it'll probably be
we gotta stop.
6 or 7 years before we actually stop it. That's what I'm saying. Like we're so far behind them on at least logical things.
The inmates are running the asylum. I mean, that's as clear as I can make it. You know, I have no problem if you're a 25-year-old man, even if you're 18 years old, and you go, you know what, I really do feel like I'm in the wrong body. I want to change. Look,
I don't know, man.
I think it's weird. I think it's crazy. I think it's something that you really need to go and talk to a psychologist about way before you make this decision. I think a 2 years minimum of actually talking this through before you make this rash decision. But again, you're an adult. When you come after kids, or even our teachers and everybody else make this seem like it's a mainstream okay thing to do, that's a huge problem. I don't want my child in a school where teachers are going, well, you know, Timmy feels like he's Tammy now, so we're all going to treat Timmy like Tammy, and now Timmy gets to go in and sit on the toilet with the girls and do that. I think it's we've gone way too far off the deep end with the crazy people. They literally are out of the asylum.
I tell you, man, I got a 20-year-old. Because I know you're an adult.
Is he going to transition?
No, I'm open.
Oh, okay. I was like, no, not Jacob.
Yeah, no, I'm open.
He's got a girlfriend.
Yeah, but there's those things that he calls me up for and asks me about.
Dad, I need the bras.
Yeah, well, he hadn't asked me for that one quite yet. But no, I just mean like real basic things. Like, what's my social security number?
Right.
I mean, I'm not kidding. He called us and asked us for that yesterday.
Dad, tell me how to take off a bra.
Yeah, well, that may be in the works. I don't know. I don't know.
Look,
but it ain't going to be his. That's the problem, I'm afraid. That's actually another thing.
I mean, we know 25 is that number.
But that's yeah. So 20, and I know people say you're an adult at 18, and yet you can't have a drink. So you're not technically fully an adult because you're still.
But there's those little moments where you go, all right, you understand that there is not while 90% of them fully functioning adult, you go, oh, like every adult knows their social security number, knows how to get a hold of it. But when he has to call you, it's that little reminder, like you're not quite there yet.
Yeah. You're over 18, so you're an adult.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, so back to your 25 number. It almost makes sense that's the number if they're going to. And I don't know how you legislate that, but I'm just. It only makes sense to go there.
Then you start at 21, right? Like either way, I think you should have to go through 2 years to 3 years of counseling before you make this decision or before any doctor will see you. I know guys, veterans, literally no veterans, that can't walk. They were actually retired from the military for medical reasons. And you know what they have to do? They have to prove themselves every single day that they're hurt. They have to go through test after test. I have one friend, my roommate, Brendan, who they told him, even though he knows that his knee is all messed up, they said, well, why don't you go to physical therapy first and see if it works? And he goes, well, I don't even know what's wrong with me yet. Can I get an MRI? No. You can't do that. We got to really, we got to take our time with this. We got to figure it out. But not with our children.
Yeah,
not with cutting off their appendages.
Irreplaceable things.
Our priorities are so messed up. And I agree with you 100%. I don't think you should be able to, until you go through all the rigmarole that a veteran has to do to get health care, you should have to go through 2 to 3 years of mental help.
Absolutely. 100%. I couldn't agree with you. I don't know how you get that legislated. I don't know how you get that.
Because we're all on joy.
Yeah.
Joy.
Going back to Tim Walsh.
Mutilate our children. Go ahead.
Doug Collins, representative, former congressman, he said in a post, I served in Congress with Tim Walz. He supported late-term abortions, mass amnesty, defund the police measures, the New Green Deal, and gender-affirming care for minors. So, I mean, just listen to all of the haywire things that this man supports. And before you pull the lever, Just know who you're voting for.
Why doesn't he defund the police out in front of Chicago's DNC?
No, couldn't do that.
Defund them.
Mm-mm.
No, why
They're
not?
needed.
What do you?
They're protecting them.
Oh no,
They're protecting them.
Oh wow.
Not actual Americans. When it's convenient for them, they'll use it. When walls are convenient for them, they'll wrap their convention with a wall when it's convenient. I mean, it should make you just.
They
roll
boarded
your
up
eyes.
windows for their own party
because they're not communist enough. That'll do it for us. Glenn Beck program is up next. Thank you so much for being here. Hope you'll come back tomorrow morning for Rhino and Los and Board Up Goey Virgin River. My name is Tug. Y'all come back now here. The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's Tug, and here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
Turn our attention to the climate disaster. Thought you'd be interested in some new facts gleaned from an article in the Wall Street Journal. Let's start out with polar bears. Al Gore in 2006 told us they were on the way out. In 2004, the Washington Post said that the species was facing extinction. The World Wildlife Fund said that polar bears would be unable to reproduce by 2012. What is the truth? You've noticed they've suddenly stopped talking about polar bears. That's because the polar bear population increasing substantially. 12,000 in the 1960s, above 26,000 right now. Well, the truth is a pain in the butt to these climate radicals.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.